never like a normal Friday, Saturday. That's for sure.
But it's normal. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Awesemo.com NBA Deeper Dive, presented by Prize Picks. I'm Dave Loughran at Lofty_D on the Twitters, joined by the belching Josh Engleman.
It's the soda, man.
Get
I don't drink soda,
now, dude.
I don't drink soda normally. So
Can you hold that bottle up? Oh, okay. It looked like is that Pepsi 1 or 0? Or just
I don't think they make 1 calorie Pepsi, but no, it's Pepsi Diet Pepsi.
Is that okay? So that's just straight diet, man. I try not to drink soda, but
same. I don't ever drink soda.
I never. The only time, no joke, the only time I ever see you drink soda is when you're at your parents' house.
Yeah, it's the only. It's never in my home. It's
a little treat, right? You know, you come over there, it's a treat.
Yeah, but it just happens to be here.
The taste of diet is not enjoyable to me, is the thing.
It would be if you had this before you ever had a regular one.
That's true. For me, like if I had to, like say I'm hungover and I'm going the fast food route, because you know the hungover fast food route, you can't really beat it. You feel awful afterwards, but as it's happening, you're thinking this is the cure. So if I say I go to Wendy's and I get the, Dave's Hot and Juicy, what is that? The number one?
Is that what you call it? Is that what you call it? Dave's Hot and Juicy?
Yeah. That's what I can't say that. I know people that know her that watch this. Yeah. But I'm going cherry Pepsi or cherry Coke. Like that's my go-to if I'm going with one of them.
If that was a Diet Dr. Pepper, if Diet Dr. Pepper were sitting next to it, that's what that would have been.
Oh, Diet DP action? Okay.
Yeah. A little light DP.
Dave's Hot and Juicy coming in with some DP. I mean, we're off to a good start today.
Just think, Jordan, you rushed us onto the air for this.
First mistake made today.
Should have known better.
We're happy to have you guys with us, though. This is always a fun show. Josh and I usually do the Monday night live before lock show. We were scheduled for the deeper dive, and I can assure you that neither of us alerted anyone to the potential mistake.
Sure didn't. This is the show that I would have preferred to do, and I wasn't saying a word, so this is perfect to me.
But it's a fun show as always. We got 2 games today. You got Sixers. You got Miami. You got Sixers with no Joel Embiid, and then Dallas and the Phoenix Suns. Pretty exciting spot there. I'm looking forward to both of these. We're into the second round, and at this point, Josh, I don't want to say anything can happen. Chris just DM me, no mistake, switched it because Adam was out. I figured. I'm just saying, Josh and I said in the event that it was a mistake, mum's the word, Yeah,
no, I was not telling a soul. I was exactly where I wanted to be. I didn't want the extra half hour. I wanted it earlier. I just want to go downstairs, put the damn basketball games on, and enjoy myself.
But what's funny is every time we do have that and we do the extra half hour, it's a blast. It's
I enjoy it while it's happening. Look, less work is always better than more work.
Sure. I mean, the American way.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Well, actually, it's like the European way, no?
I was going to say the American way. Yeah, the people that the hustle.
The American way is that we either do no work and hope that we still get paid for by the government, or we work 80 hours a week, and that's just like what's expected.
Yeah. Very little in between. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so hit that thumbs up out of the gate. We're at 800 people watching. Appreciate you. And we got to get to at least 200 likes here. At least 200 likes. 76,300 plus subs. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. We'll know because it pops up on the screen whenever you subscribe. And hit that join. If you want to hit and join the team Awesemo down here, well, we'd love to have you. Get the free super chats each month, custom emojis, the sweet badges. You see them in chat, iced out with the 1-year badges, the 1 month, the 6 month. And we'll always prioritize your questions and comments along with our premium Discord members. All right, man. How you feeling about this slate right now with Joel? We'll get into all of the games, all the teams, as we always do on this show, but just kind of to kick this off, to lay a foundation. how does value look to you? What type of builds are we looking at? And how big is this Embiid news for a 2-game slate, even though they had some time to preemptively make some moves with pricing?
Yeah, it's not fun today. Because I think that prevailing wisdom is going to be that we get Paul Reed starting in place of Joel Embiid. And I am fully expecting to hear at 6:45 that there's an update to the starting lineup, and now it's DeAndre Jordan, and everybody just wants to jump off the, I was gonna say jump off the top of the spectrum, but that wouldn't have been all that useful any longer. But you know,
you'd literally just be jumping off the pavement. You'd be safe.
Yes, that would be fine. That would be fine.
The spectrum is no longer.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Do you know what the new one's called?
Is it Wachovia?
Used to be. Okay, we're getting closer.
No idea.
Wells Fargo Center.
Oh yeah, Wachovia just became Wells Fargo. Shit, that's how long I've been gone. Exactly. It was Wachovia when I moved.
Exactly. You could have had that.
Man. I wouldn't have got that because like that's not how I was thinking about it. Like I would have stopped thinking. Like, yeah, I would have been like, I don't know, Chicky and Pete's got it or something.
Right. Yeah. Not they just changed the name to the new bank.
Yeah. Tony Luke's Stadium. I don't know.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that the bank changed.
Oh man.
I would not have got there. What you got going? Hair?
What?
Hair?
Yeah. A safe one, but it was hair nonetheless. It's not the worst. I mean, that's the worst thing in the world. I told you the story about being at the restaurant a few months ago and had the woman, a female, like 20-inch black hair that I pull the sandwich out and I see something on my shirt and I go to grab it from my shirt and I can't get it. And then I pull and I'm like, oh God. And then the worst part was it got wedged in between two of my teeth, Josh. It's like 20 wedged in between two molars.
What kind of sandwich?
Oh, it's a honey sriracha chicken sandwich. Phenomenal. I finished.
Sounds good.
No, I didn't. Good. They brought me out. Yeah, it's real good. You would enjoy it. They brought me.
I would have ate it. Hair or no hair, I would have ate it.
Would you actually have finished that if you pulled a like? I don't know how they concealed this hair is the big thing. It's almost impressive. Like they wrapped.
Have you had that sandwich before it?
What?
Have you ever had that sandwich before that incident?
Yeah.
So you knew it was good?
I knew it was fantastic. We get it all the time.
I eat the whole sandwich and I don't even deal with it.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, you're making shit up. We were saying today on the strategy show how sometimes we don't know if you're just saying it because it's funny. Like the hand washing thing. I know that's actually, I believe you. But like this.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
The server saw me from across the room, like about to vomit, right? I got my, at the time, 11-month-old daughter witnessing the carnage, and she'll never forget that. You know, Dad's a big pussy.
You want to try the sandwich? Here's some hair.
Yeah, and she comes over. She's like, how is everything? I'm not going to be like, I told her, and I was very polite. I know. It's
not great, Tanya. Not great.
That Tanya's that's a good diner name. Like other than the hair, you can see it because I accidentally tossed it onto my daughter's lap. Like, what are you doing? It was bad. But besides the point, I got another one and I didn't think twice. But I don't really believe you would have just crushed that right afterwards. You wouldn't have been worried something else is. I guess
it depends where I am and which sandwich it is.
Okay.
Like, this is going to be a really bad example, but like if I were in Philly and I was getting a cheesesteak and I noticed that same situation, I'm not going up and being like, I found a hair in my cheesesteak, because they're going to put 4 more of them back in that cheesesteak when I go to get another one. I just need to deal with the first one or I'm not eating. There's no middle ground there.
If you're polite about it and you're like, hey, no big deal, fellas, but you know, this was in there.
Yeah. I took 1 bite. Can we run this back? Yeah. It depends how far in. Like if I've already eaten half the cheesesteak, it's game over. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah. I've done that before. If it's something minor, but this was traumatizing.
That's the whole. It was like a wig. You got like a whole track.
All right. Let's get into this.
I got one more thing for you. It's quick. Walking through the parking lot with my mom today. See a bright, shiny quarter on the ground. I don't even bat an eye. I step clean over it. My mom, on the other hand, doubles back, looks down, heads, a quarter, 25 days of good luck. Yoinks, scoops it straight up off the ground. I was just like, what are we doing?
For real?
If that was I was just like, if that was a $20 bill, I wouldn't have picked that up.
you just walk ahead of her. It's for some things, Josh, it's the small things. For some people, it's the small things in life, you know?
She couldn't have looked happier, and I couldn't have looked more disgusted that like trash money is on the ground.
Pull it out of her hands, just throw it back onto the ground.
Yeah, just fling it. I'd rather have the hair.
All right. Philly, Miami. Let's do this. You got the Philadelphia 76ers, 7.5 point dogs. So Greg and I talked about it this morning. I mentioned it on the betting show. If DeAndre Jordan ends up starting, I'm hammering Heat -2.5 in the first quarter, because I don't think Doc, no matter how insane he is and wanting to run, the grizzled vets out there, if it goes south quick, there's no way he can leave him out there. The biggest issue I have, though, is they have no answers here, because Paul Reed's a high energy guy. I'm a big fan for DFS purposes, but he's still a defensive liability. The guy makes a lot of mistakes. He's young. There's a reason that he hasn't been in rotations. Like, you know what I mean? So,
hey, you talk to John Hollinger, man, and that's just the Philadelphia 76ers making a mistake. He's got a lot of advanced statistical people on his side.
I hold on a second. I've been on Paul Reed's side from the jump. What I'm saying,
I'm not talking about you.
No. But because I'm somewhat criticizing him here, I want to make sure that we're on the same page. He's still an insane step down defensively from Joel Embiid, like an insane step down.
100 percentile steal rate this season. 93rd percentile block rate this season for B-ball Paul.
Serious question.
In 303 minutes.
Have you watched him play for real?
No, I know. I'm not advocating for him being defensive Jaren Jackson Jr. type character.
No, what I'm saying is this guy's all over the place, which is good, and then sometimes really bad.
He can Bam might really embarrass him today, or his energy is just like wild.
Right. It might work, but it also might. Like, remember Kenneth Farid's style of play? Sometimes you'd go, oh my God, this guy's awesome. And then other times you're like, why is he 3 rows up into the stands when the game's being played?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I wouldn't want Paul Reed for I don't think I would want Paul Reed for all 7 games, but he could be a shot of life in game 1 as like I'm bringing everything I've got here.
Doc, this is the thing though. Some of those Toronto games, Paul Reed injected some life into him off the bench. And then there were 2 games where like Doc literally had to take him off the floor after 3 minutes or something. So it's one or the other. It might work. If it doesn't work, we know DeAndre Jordan doesn't work for a fact.
No,
that's not going to work.
No.
Tobias Harris at the 5 would be a colossal disaster. And then even if you tried to go even smaller, we talked about it this morning with Greg, like Matisse Thybulle, guy's a 31% 3-point shooter. He's already not a good shooter. So it's not like you're saying, all right, we'll sacrifice some points to get some 3 points or some defense to get some. He's a good defender, but he's so undersized there. His 3-point shooting doesn't make up for anything either. So Paul Reed feels like the best approach, even if it's the best of the worst.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like you're going Reed. I would want to try Bassey before I tried Reed, or before I tried DeAndre Jordan. I would want to try Bassey before I tried Paul Millsap. Now, I think Paul Millsap is going to be out there, but they have options, and that's what makes this incredibly complicated. We have no reason to suspect they'll do anything. Like, no one should have confidence in who plays the most minutes. No one should have confidence in who, like, even gets in the game. They're wide open because they've got multiple guys that shouldn't be playing in the playoffs basically at all anyway, and they're just going to make it up as they go along. Hot hands are going to be very, very apparent in this one.
That's a good point. I appreciate all you guys in chat. We have fun doing this. You guys make it a whole lot better. According to me, maybe not Josh, but deep down,
there's a chat. I don't even have that window
deep
open.
Down, Josh has some love. I know you do.
I forgot. Look, I just assumed we were recording this and uploading it later.
Bullshit, man. You love nothing more than getting a good laugh. Yeah. You played it. I know how I've been doing shows long enough with you. I know how you work. How many minutes do you think Millsap gets for real though?
I gave him 16.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what their alternative is going to be.
Dude,
What if Paul Reed picks up 2 fouls in the first 4 minutes? Like they go to Millsap, right?
It's entirely possible.
Okay, let me be like slightly more specific here.
Sure.
I gave 16 minutes to Paul Millsap. That could just as easily be 16 minutes to Charles Bassey or DeAndre Jordan. Like, I don't have a great feel for that. I just think the second center plays like 16 minutes, whoever the hell that may be.
You're probably right. But the crazy thing is, Millsap wasn't even in the regular season rotation to close out the year, right?
Right.
DeAndre Jordan hasn't played a minute in the postseason.
Right.
Like, these aren't guys, these aren't like backup power forwards that actually get run, and now they're just putting them at the 5.
No, they're not. And that's what complicates matters so much here.
The
problem here is that Doc is the coach. And he's like totally the guy that would start a vet.
Yeah, someone said that in chat today, and I didn't agree with the fact that they said DeAndre Jordan's going to play 35 minutes or whatever, but I totally agree that DeAndre Jordan could be the guy today. I don't
even think he can play 35 minutes.
No, there's no chance. There's no chance. But Bassey hasn't played since the middle of February, and I don't even know if he's healthy.
He was playing in the G League, right? Wait, wasn't he?
I thought he was. Hold on. Let me just make sure here. For some reason, I feel like he's still nursing an injury.
You could be right. It's not like I keep.
He's still got that shoulder that he hasn't played with since February.
I could have swore he was active in the G League there, but I guess I'm wrong. I mean, look, I gave Charles Bassey 0 minutes. It didn't really make a difference to me.
Right. Well, someone asked about it in chat, so I just wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you though, if Paul Reed's the type of guy that with that, I love these high energy players for DFS. The only problem is it can get them in trouble, and then they're yanked, and then they're benched for the rest of the game. But if it happens to be working, and maybe you need a spark because you don't have, the guy that's likely going to finish second for the MVP, Paul Reed might be the answer. I was shocked earlier that he was only 28% projected ownership. He's 39% now. Do you think if he's officially announced the starter, it'll go up?
It should. I mean, to me, he's unequivocally the number one play of the day if he's the starter.
Agreed.
Like, not close. He was in 84% of my FanDuel sims at 4,100.
Wow. And 42 on draft.
But by the way, I only gave him 24 minutes. Like, his minutes are crazy too. He could play as low as 12 and as many as 30. And all of those things make sense to me.
He's also the type of guy that, could play 12 minutes. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
Play 12 minutes and drop 25 fantasy points. Yeah.
His stats for his final year of college: 15 points, 11 boards, 2.5 blocks, and 2 steals.
How many minutes
per game? 32.
Still, those are really good numbers.
15, 11, and 4.5 stocks in 32 minutes in his final year.
Wow. He's fun. Watch him tonight. You'll enjoy this kid if you haven't seen much of him.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. He's fun. I
always dig into those guys that come out in the draft that like statistical model, like Pelton or John Hollinger's models push higher, or like some guys at APBR metrics or something like that, where it's just like, these guys were dominant in college, but he's a 6'1" center. So I don't know how well it's going to work.
By the way, he's not talking about Paul Reed being a 6'1" center.
No. Just like you get those types of guys where it's just like he dominated on the boards, but he's a point guard size, but somehow he plays like a center.
His per 36 is this in the NBA, obviously very few minutes, but 15 and 11.5, 5 stocks.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's
the
nuts.
The guy can get it done. Let's just see if we can get some minutes from him.
True.
You know what the biggest problem is though, is the biggest edge could actually be getting the backup center right, whoever that is. Like, even if Paul Reed doesn't start, he's going to play because he was the backup center all series long behind Joel Embiid. Like, he's going to play.
If he's not, well, I don't know. I mean, Doc took a steaming dump on top of him in the end of the regular season, so it's not like he really loves him here. Okay, he just got done talking about how it's like we're not highlighting Paul Reed. We're trying to win an NBA title. Well, you shit better highlight him now. Yeah, Now he doesn't have a choice. So you sound like an even bigger asshole.
I hope Paul Reed heard that and he's like, all right, Doc. All right.
Doc said it because he's starting some other idiot tonight.
Yeah. Doc knows that Paul's pissed, so he just doesn't play him at all out of spite.
Like I said, we're not playing for Paul Reed here, guys. I told you this 2 weeks ago.
And Paul Reed's not playing.
Yeah.
But
that's not a real quote, by the way, everybody. Just in case you're just popping in right now.
Which part?
When you yell, Paul Reed's not playing.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I would hope that people understood the context. Wait, Paul Reed's not playing?
Yeah, here we go. I mean, there's 1,300 people in here. Like, think about where the lines are drawn. And
what I'm saying is, if Paul Reed starts, obviously we know he's playing. But if he doesn't start, you're still pretty confident that he plays. Now, conversely, if Paul Reed starts, you have no idea who's playing behind him. That's the point I was trying to make. At least if he doesn't start, you go, yeah, we could probably chalk him up for like at least 15, maybe a little more. But what happens if he starts and then maybe the backup center splits minutes with him and you actually do get 24 from Deandre Jordan or Millsap?
I think you could also see one of these centers, like you could see Deandre Jordan take the run in the first half, get beat to shit, and then Millsap takes it in the second half, and both of those guys become pretty much useless. But like Millsap's the flat 3K today, and he's got power forward eligibility. If you think he's going to go out there and play, I don't know, 12 minutes, that's enough.
It really, at center.
Yeah.
It kind of is.
At 3K today, I have the target score on DraftKings at 17.
And he's still a decent enough per minute guy.
Yeah, I mean, I got him at a 0.97 guy.
All right. Well, I know we spent a lot of time on the Sixers front court, but it's important. So do you think anyone else plays center aside from Embiid and either Millsap and DeAndre Jordan?
You would give your left nut for Embiid to be playing tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry. Reed.
Yeah, I mean, I assume like George Niang is probably like a stretch 5 today if they have to, and
that'll
they just try to
really poorly.
Well, if you got to go to just an all offense type thing, I could see that happening. Look, I think you could conceivably see 4 different people be the on paper center before any sort of blowout run would happen.
Okay.
I think you can see Reed. I think you can see DeAndre Jordan and Paul Millsap, and then potentially a stretch 5 option in Niang.
What do we want to do with the rest of Philly? You got James Harden without Embiid, Maxey, Harris. These guys have played. If I'm looking at any, and I would suggest anyone else does the same. If I'm looking at any rates, fantasy points per minute, assist rate, usage, rebound rate, whatever, with Embiid off the floor. In the regular season, I'm just taking Embiid off the floor, and maybe I have to take some. But in this case, I'm putting all 3 of these guys on the floor to see their rates, because they're going to all. If this game's remotely competitive, they're all playing 40+ minutes.
I've got Harden, Harris, and Maxey all in for 40. Depending on the site, there's a little bounce back between who I actually want. To me, Harden's the clear best option, 9,800 on both sites. Shooting guard, small forward on FanDuel, which is funny, but I mean, 30+ usage. I got him at 34, 40+% assist rate, something in that neighborhood. To me, Harden's the easiest guy to get to from Philly. I prefer Maxey to Harris on DraftKings. Harris just being $600 more expensive is a little bit more than I'm looking for. I think they're basically equal on FanDuel. I don't have much of a lean either direction there, but you're clearly playing those 3 guys aggressively. You're playing Paul Reed aggressively. And then everything else that you're taking a shot on is a wild card at best, whether that's Danny Green, Niang, Thibault, who I just don't think has a place in this series, but we'll see.
Okay. Matt Butler said Bassey played 17 games in G League from April 2nd back to February 24th. So he's been healthy for months since re-injuring his shoulder. Okay. Yeah, I was just reading the report that said he continues to nurse a sprained right shoulder and remains without a timetable. So
I thought he was active, but obviously like April 2nd is still a month ago. So both of those things could be true.
Yeah, who knows? It's unimportant. It really doesn't matter. Anything else here you want to hit on for Philly? I think a lot of this team is self-explanatory tonight with Embiid on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, be ready for the starting lineup. If it's Millsap, go nuts. He's 3K. That really cannot hurt you. If it's Paul Reed, I also think go nuts. I think to me, he's very clearly the best play on the slate.
What if it's Jordan?
I mean, play a lot of them. I assume his price is normal. I haven't looked at it, if I'm being honest.
God.
He's 50. No, you can't play him at all on DraftKings.
What?
You can't play him at all on DraftKings.
I didn't even look to see what his salary was.
He's unplayable on DraftKings. You can play him on FanDuel at 3,500.
Yo.
DeAndre Jordan has to start to ever be played on DK, and at 52, he needs 30 fantasy points at that salary. To me, that's impossible. Impossible.
And Reed, who decided that was let's see if they preemptively priced up Jordan.
My guess is that's DeAndre Jordan's salary from the last time he was relevant.
He was $3,200 last game he played. I don't know. That's crazy. Which was not in the playoffs. So yeah, Paul Reed. Because I'd play Paul Reed at 5,200 if I was projecting him for 40 or 24 minutes, like you said. DeAndre Jordan, that's nuts. All right, let's talk about Miami. And I'm going to continue to see what we've got going on. If we get any starting lineups here.
Everybody's active for Miami at this point, except for Lowry, obviously.
What a surprise. I don't know why they keep doing that. PJ Tucker's played every game and he's been questionable every single game.
I know. It feels like the regular season Lakers.
But man, or Bill Belichick's Patriots. I love Bam Adebayo today. So does the field. I don't really know how you couldn't. I have the over 32.5 points, rebounds, and assists on him for myriad reasons. It's just one of those spots where I think Philly does not have answers for him. And if it turns out Paul Reed is the answer, I'll happily eat my words because we don't know. But as of now, I have to assume that Bam Adebayo, one of the best two-way players, one of the most versatile bigs in the league, has a significant advantage, Josh.
If he doesn't, Miami's future is bleak.
Yeah, right.
He looks incredible. 7,400 on FanDuel. He's got the power forward eligibility as well. 7,300 on DraftKings, just center. It doesn't matter. He's in 50+% of my sims. The ownership is there and it's completely warranted. Bam is the most obvious easy play today in that the price works. Everybody agrees that the matchup has just become significantly better for him. He's checking off every box, casuals, sharps, whatever it is. Everybody agrees that Bam looks incredible today.
Michael Michael had a question. Could Korkmaz or Shake get dusted off if they need scoring? I think Shake absolutely could. Yeah. I think Shake, what's up?
I think that it'd be more likely to go to Korkmaz.
You can tell me why, and then I'll respond.
They don't ever really seem to go to Shake. Now that Maxey plays 40 minutes, I don't think that there's a lot of spots for Shake to get on the floor barring Maxey problems, whereas Korkmaz just slots in no matter what. Yeah. You could be playing Maxey, Harden, Korkmaz. That's okay.
I guess. Shake's playing a lot more minutes in this series than Korkmaz already, though. A lot more. I would just assume that he would be the guy, and he's not a total liability. What do you think Korkmaz is shooting from three this year?
It's real bad.
29%.
I was going to say 28 because I think that's what it was. But yeah, it's shit.
To answer your guys' question, or to answer the question, I think it's very tough to think that. I don't know if there's enough meat on the bone there as far as these rotations go.
There's not.
Yeah, there's just, if there's a regular season game, you could Korkmaz, both of those guys have done it where they catch fire, but it would be real tough for that to be the case, for that to happen.
It's just one of those situations where you're out thinking yourself if you're trying to make that play.
Right. So we both agree Bam's underpriced on DraftKings for sure.
Yes, he's been.
He has. And yes and no. At one point it was okay, he's dealing with this quad. He's playing fewer minutes. He was still underpriced, but now he played 40 minutes last game. Played 40 minutes to close out that series. He's perfectly fine now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He just needs to be better.
Right. He was good last game, right? He was.
Yeah.
I thought he was solid last game.
Yeah, but I mean, not the most illustrious series for him.
No, it was pretty rough actually. But he was hurt. He was clearly not 100%. I think that we can confidently say he was not 100%.
Agreed.
Because he's going out there against without Clint Capella and going up against Okongwu and just.
Well, he's really good.
Okongwu's fine, but
fine.
Capella's, what?
I mean, I would say that you can make a real good case that Okongwu was a better defensive center this season than Clint Capella.
You think so?
I think Capella slipped. It got a little bit better later in the season when he started to get a little bit more healthy. But like the reason that the Hawks were where they were was because their defense cratered, and there's no quicker place to look about why a defense craters than your center. Like that's the spot. Like we can say that Trae Young sucks on D all you want. That's pretty much meaningless in this discussion. Clint Capella needed to be the guy that carried that defense. Atlanta had the 26th ranked defense this year. You can't blame that to start on anybody other than Capella.
No, but you can only carry a defense so much if you're anchoring them as the big man. Like we saw that. We've seen that with Rudy Gobert against teams that are good mid-range and three-point shooting teams.
Well, yeah, but now we're talking about like playoff status. I'm telling like Atlanta's defense was dog shit
in the regular
for the whole
they
season.
Were horrible. Yeah, no, I know they were terrible. They were terrible.
I think you can make a case that Okongwu is a better defensive player than him right now.
I'd have to look. I'd have to look. I won't argue it.
It doesn't matter.
No. Anyway, what else do you want to do with Miami here? From Strus to Tucker to Vincent. I mean, all of these guys are pulling 30+% with Kyle Lowry out as well.
Got to point out Hero first on FanDuel. He's 5,600. That's $800 cheaper than it is on DraftKings. He's a completely different play there. Hero's getting 56% ownership on FanDuel, warranted. I have Hero, Strus, Tucker, and Vincent as basically equals, just like the ownership. Ownership is 37, 39, 37, 30. I have it 36, 38, 35, 30. Like it's the same thing. I like all four of those guys. I have Jimmy Butler coming out of my sim at 24.4%. That's his exact ownership as well. I'm spot on this entire Miami team. I don't really know what other ways to go other than I know a lot of people are going to be trying to chat up Victor Oladipo. I just don't have a great feel for it.
Sotex says, and thank you for bringing this to my attention, brother. 1,600 watching, 302 likes, ratios too low. Hit that like button.
Couldn't agree more.
Damn right, dude. I couldn't have said it better myself. Matter of fact, Josh, that sounds like something I might say.
Yeah. One of us would definitely say that.
Hit that thumbs up. 500's clearly doable, right? We'd need about 174.
Bridge Line, whatever drugs you got, man. Can you go ahead and ship them to me? If you happen to be in PA, I'll meet you if you need it because they seem great.
If you have Josh Engleman defending Jimmy Butler, you don't know you messed up.
I mean, that's just like the wildest take I've ever seen in chat.
By the way, you have to say what the chat is or what the comment was.
Oladipo's better than Jimmy. The Heat have a revolving type of game style that fits any player. Dude, Victor Oladipo hasn't been any good in 5 years and has had one season that looks like anything Jimmy Butler has done ever. Jimmy Butler has been doing this for years and years now. These aren't even comparable players. And I'm not a Jimmy Butler guy.
Me neither.
That's insanity.
Yes, I am. But that is crazy. Someone asked, is Laffy bald? Yes. No hair whatsoever.
Below the waist, maybe.
You see that? So matter of factly.
Well, I know that you come onto these shows like once every 2 weeks after a haircut with like a full head of hair. So it's the only place it's going to be, man.
Yeah, some people don't know. Some people might have missed those shows because to be fair, I probably wear a hat like 90% of the time.
That's crazy, man. Like imagine if you were though, you'd be able to be in G.I. Jane 3.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. All right. Where are we going next? I'm not silent because I think that joke was offensive or anything. I was just
no, I'm aware. I don't know. I'm just looking at the
thinking of a good retort.
52% true shooting last year from Victor Oladipo, or the 50 the year before, or the 52 the year before that. Insanity.
Are there any plays though? Oh, actually, let me ask you this with Jimmy Butler, and then we're going to talk about Dallas and Phoenix. With Jimmy Butler, how does he stack up against the Hardens and Chris Pauls and Devin Bookers? They're all kind of in that 85 to 98. I know it's kind of a wide range, but you're not going to be able to get to all of those guys tonight.
No,
and Butler's only getting 24% on DraftKings.
Which I'm anxious to see if all of that like stabilizes now that we're going to get them all ruled in. I don't know how much we're paying attention to that in the playoffs the same way that we would in the regular season. But when I look at Butler, I prefer him to Chris Paul at 9,100. I prefer Booker to Butler. I think that Butler probably looks pretty similar to Tobias Harris. He's like a slightly more expensive version of that. But I'd rather get to Harden. I'd rather get to Luka. So he's kind of in like no man's land.
Okay. Someone said Manscaped, Laffy. It's funny. I was always thinking like, how they promote, or how
we were supposed to get them, weren't we?
I would have had the greatest reads ever for that. I was thinking up things that would have been, they have one of their like razors or whatever. One is the trimmers. It's called the lawnmower. Man, yeah. How do you not like find that funny if you're doing a read? Check out the lawnmower 5.0. We
were supposed to get them. I wonder what happened there.
I don't know. That would have been fun though. Tell me that wouldn't have been fun.
Well, yeah, we started cracking jokes about it and like talking about how good our reads were going to be.
Oh yeah, I was gonna display it. I was gonna do a demo.
My first response when we got asked about it was, "I normally get waxed, so I'm not familiar with the product."
I hope that's not true.
No, I could never do that.
No. All right.
I assume that would hurt so bad.
I never would, never want to know.
Like, I would not accept that as terms of a bet.
No.
I'd rather you shoot me. The amount of pain that has to be, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine a gunshot wound doesn't feel good either.
Yeah, but that's different.
Wait, would you rather be shot in the foot or waxed?
Oh, the foot? No.
Dude, the foot's non-lethal.
Yeah, but like that'll fuck up all the bones.
Okay, would you rather be winged?
Like through and through, like in the shoulder area.
Oh, get the nice. Okay, but this is not like a marksman. This is they might miss.
Well, I assumed you were shooting me.
I might miss.
Like on purpose? I mean, you've got like a small country's arsenal in your basement or wherever you keep it.
No, it's not in the basement. But okay. All right, no, seriously.
Attic?
Okay. Clip through the bicep, like from here to here, like sideways through the bicep, or waxed.
I mean, it's got to be the bicep shot, right? Dude, you're gonna bleed from the waxing, man.
Dude.
Can you imagine? It's just gonna be it's gonna look like you got shot in the crotch. It's good. There's gonna be so much blood.
You're out of control, man.
Think about Steve Carell in 40-Year-Old Virgin. He bled through his shirt. That wasn't fake. That wasn't like that happened.
All right.
Could you imagine?
Next bet we have. If I lose, I have to get waxed. If you lose, you have to get shot.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm just gonna not agree to the bet, like I said from the beginning.
All right, Awesemo Hall of Fame, baby. We love shouting out all the winners around here. Then we'll get to Dallas, Phoenix, and then you got Live Before Lock coming up. Greg Ehrenberg, Eric Lindquist, they do a great show every single day. They're going to take you up to lock and then 30 minutes past it for the Prize Picks sponsored after show. So hang out with them if you're not doing anything. But check out these wins. And if you're curious, how do you get up here? How do you get inducted into the Awesemo Hall of Fame? Simple. Go to awesemo.com/join. Go to awesemo.com/avatar. Sorry. And download the avatar. Use DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, wherever it is you play. Finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more. and tweet us at Awesemo HOF. Include Josh and myself in there as well. We like seeing these wins, and win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, $90 value. You're getting a free month of Awesemo Plus. You're getting up here, inducted into the Hall of Fame. Even if you don't qualify for the free month, but you're proud of a win, hit us up. Maybe we'll get you up here. EMAC throwing it out here. Shouting out his boy Terry McBride, been doing some great baseball content, just took down 30K, and Steve Buzzard, 5K, first and third, repping the Avatar. Both of those guys work with Josh and myself here at the Awesemo.com. BK, you man got me to the promised land, $10,000. He had a big win the other day, I thought, as well. And our boy Jordan Lockhart back in the mix, $50,000 win. Let's go, man. Welcome back to the fold. Michael Yamanda, 21,600. We have some good ones this week. Some good ones. We just keep adding to it. Brian, 3,000, first big PGA hit. Thanks for all the help to the PGA guys. And then Awesemo himself, our boy, turning that 1K into 7,500. Little 3-leg parlay there. Gotta love it. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. You've been inducted formally. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Awesemo.com/avatar. Get in on it. Tweet us at Awesemo HOF. Get that collect that free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum too. I mean, that's the real reward here. All right, Dallas. So Josh, the way that Dallas hung in and ultimately defeated Utah in 6 games was good defense, but just a ton of 3-point shots, right? 42 threes per game. Whether it's Finney Smith, Bullock, Doncic when he came back, Brunson, these guys are just ripping threes left and right. And then you've got Finney Smith playing 40+ minutes every night. You have Bullock legitimately playing 44 minutes in every or more in every game except one, which was a 30-point blowout. So these guys aren't particularly good. But I said this to Greg, and then take over here. Let us know where you're at on Dallas. We can start with Luke. Actually, we'll start with these peripheral guys. I said this morning, he's averaging 0.7 fantasy points per minute in the series, and he's still averaging 30 fantasy points per game.
Yeah. I like them both. I think DFS may be a little bit over-owned, whereas I think Reggie Bullock is a little bit under-owned. So I'm happy to like sort of flip-flop the public ownership here on those two guys. And especially because Bullock is shooting guard small forward. So you can also play him guard forward utility. That's the best positional designation you can get on DraftKings. But I think the guy that everybody really cares about would be Luka. He is my second favorite pay up option behind James Harden, at least on DraftKings. I love that raw point ceiling. On FanDuel, where the prices are a little bit closer, he's still behind Harden, but Jimmy Butler and Chris Paul are significantly more expensive on FanDuel too. So it makes Luka look even better. And I think you could pull off those Luka plus James Harden lineups. But look, I'm happy to get to Luka here. Is it a very tough matchup for him? Yeah, he's going to get a steady diet of a defender that is better than Marcus Smart. So that right there is going to be a little bit tricky for him. And it's not like he's the only defender that's going to be out there. I mean, this is a smart team. They are uniquely set up to try to slow down Luka Doncic. We'll see if anybody could actually do that. But if you're asking priorities here, Reggie Bullock is the guy that I think you should be like paying attention to just because of his ownership. Clearly play as much Luka Doncic as you can, although I do have him behind James Harden. But like the ownership going to Maxey or Dwight Powell, even like Brunson at 7,200, I feel like Dallas is a little overowned.
It does feel that way. It's just some of the minutes are so insanely high that I can get. I understand it with some of them, but I guess the ones that are like Maxey's very high owned, Dwight Powell very high owned. Yeah. Those guys are the ones that are from a playing time standpoint the most volatile on this team.
Yeah. Look, I'm looking at a guy like, and this is one that I think is kind of interesting. At the beginning of the series, like Josh Green played 16 minutes in a game, 14 minutes in a game for Dallas. Does he see his way back into the rotation? He's the flat minimum at 3K. Like he's the type of flyer that I don't think is crazy to want to take if there's no ownership there, but it's also possible he's just not a part of the rotation any longer. Well, can't rule that out either.
I know you've seen this, but the rotation last game, Jason Kidd legit ran 7 guys. Like,
yep.
Bertens and Green played a combined 2.5 minutes. And
I mean, it was basically 6. Dwight Powell played 11 minutes. Like that's not exactly true. Like a healthy rotation.
That is true. Yeah. Like Dinwiddie played 32.5. Only guy off the bench to get, or no, and Maxey. Sorry, Maxey Kleber played 23, but Bullock 44, Finney Smith 46, Luka 42, Brunson 38. Huge. That's the one thing that we can at least say with confidence is, barring foul trouble, these guys, the Bullocks, Finney Smith, Luka, and Brunson, they're all going to play a ton of minutes. We at least know that.
Yep, they are.
Then who are
you're going to get 4 guys playing 36 minutes or more without question, and potentially 40 plus. There's not a lot of extra minutes to go around here in Dallas.
How much Luka do you want to get to today? I know that he's like the one real legit, top tier star from a DFS standpoint on the slate, but does not getting to Luka open some things up that otherwise wouldn't be there?
Yeah, so I like him a lot more on FanDuel. I think he's just a lot easier to get to there. On DraftKings, I think he's like appropriately owned at 40%. I don't have much of a take there on Luka. I'd just be more likely to get to a lot more Harden. And to a lesser degree, Devin Booker.
I'm going to sneeze here.
We'll do it. Bless you.
Woo! Haven't really had much allergies, but the sneezing, just stare at that light and we're good.
And we're good.
Yeah, prompts to sneeze. You guys know how that works.
I don't.
25% of the population. You're the 75%. You're the unspecial kind. You just have the sneeze hold up there with that any ability to escape. With me, I just peek out the window into the sunlight and boom, sneeze.
I just sneeze. It doesn't get. It's not like stuck at the door and it doesn't have his ticket or something. I just sneeze.
Like it's a vampire and you have to invite it in. You're telling me you never have you never have lingering sneezes? Like it's
not
there?
Once. No, just I just clean sneeze.
Really?
No, of course not. Obviously, they get stuck all the time.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe I'm the unfortunate one here because I get it where it's like I don't want it.
No, that would be an incredible superpower.
It really would if it was just immediate.
Yeah.
Have you ever sneezed while driving? It's scary. You cannot keep your eyes open while sneezing.
You can't.
There's no way you can't do it.
Nope. Agreed.
I want to see you try it on. I always work like if
my eyes just shot out of my.
That's what I was gonna say. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
How great would it be?
But yeah, I've done it driving before, and that brief second where your whole body convulses and your eyes are closed in the process.
Yeah.
Not great.
It depends where you're doing it.
El Negro Loco super chat. When do we get that Splash Brothers lip tattoo? He's getting it. We got a plan here. We have not forgotten about this.
No. It's not me dragging my heels.
No, Nathan H, just a super chat. Thanks, Nathan. If you had a question, I didn't see it. Ernie's Chipotle education, $15. Josh Engleman is king. See, people do love you out there, man. Thanks for all the insight this NBA season. And Jeff Williams, Maxey, Booker, or Harden, Bullock, high dollar DraftKings tournament. Oh, that's a good question. And he said, thanks for all you do. Thanks, Jeff. Maxey, Booker, Tyrese Maxey, of course, or Harden, Reggie Bullock.
Harden, Bullock.
Okay. We like those Bullock minutes, I guess, huh?
I do.
And I thought we had one more to hit on here.
You guys better pray that I'm never the king, by the way.
You ready to talk about Phoenix? You got anything else for Dallas?
I really don't have anything else for Dallas. To me, they're like the easiest team to look at in that nobody looks all that different and you're just playing guys that play a bunch of minutes.
Tampa's Crazy Carl said, I got $75 worth of prize picks lineups. Wish me luck. I hope you use the link in the description, Carl, because you'd also have a $90 free month of Awesemo plus platinum. Yeah. Prizepicks.com, sponsor of the NBA Deeper Dive. And if you sign up there using that link, not only do you get up to $100 first match deposit bonus when you use the promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO, up to $100, you also get a free month of Awesemo plus platinum. No strings attached, $90 value, every tool for every single sport that we have. Everything for the entire month is free. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, MMA, NASCAR, PGA, esports, all of it. We got you covered. Every single sport, every single tool, all of which were built by the man Awesemo himself. You got a very cool format over there. You're building lineups with without a salary. It's player props. You can do a two prop lineup, or you can go 5. You hit 5, you 10x your money. You hit 4, unlike a traditional prop, you still 2x. You even make money back if you only go 3 of 5. You can do a power play where you hit 4 of 4 and you 10x. You just got to hit all 4 depending on your risk tolerance. And they got an insane menu of props over there. Go to prizepicks.com or download it in the App Store, Google Play Store, wherever it is you prefer. Use the link, though. Get that free month of Awesemo Plus, and use the free Prize Picks NBA prop tool over at Awesemo. Use Odd Shopper. Use all of that to compare and get that advantage that you're looking for. Prize Picks, sponsor of the Deeper Dive. All right, man. Let's wrap this one up with the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul, Devin Booker. I wanted to ask you, what do you do with these guys now that you have Chris Paul at pretty hefty price point and Devin Booker in his second game back?
I mean, I like Devin Booker significantly more than I like Chris Paul today.
Okay.
$600 cheaper.
They're
owned the same for reasons that don't make a ton of sense to me. I think that Devin Booker is pretty clearly the better play. And if you ask this question on FanDuel, that is even more ridiculous. Somehow Chris Paul is the second most owned guy on Phoenix on FanDuel today. He's 10,100. What are you clicking on if that is a priority for you to get him all the way up to that sort of ownership? How is Chris Paul at $1,300 more expensive than Devin Booker, owned more than him on FanDuel? I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't get it either. And the only thing that I can assume, and you probably agree, is that last game Devin Booker sucked, and now everyone just assumes that he's not back to full strength. Now, is it possible, dealing with a hammy in the playoffs, that he's in fact not back to full strength? I think the answer to that is yes. You know, it's very possible that Devin Booker with a hamstring injury is not himself. But what if he is? That's the thing. What if he is?
Yeah, I mean, you have to assume that he's better than he was.
Right. When's the last game they played? It was the 28th.
Yeah.
He said 3 days of rest.
Right.
Not including today, of course.
That's 3 days of rest working for a billion-dollar company. Like, you're getting all of the treatment in the best possible way.
Yeah. How sweet would it be though? Like when I threw my back out, or you do it, you have any minor ailment, and how sweet would it be just to have that at your disposal? You're better tomorrow.
Oh my God, it'd be incredible.
Instead, you and I are limping around for a week and a half.
For months.
Months, yeah. Because I just refuse to go see anybody unless I'm in dire straits, unless I'm really in trouble and I'm thinking this could be the end of me. I'm like, it'll go away. And the truth is, it usually always does. I've been lucky like that. It usually goes away. Sometimes it takes a while, but it usually just disappears.
Trey Prince, Chris Paul is not very likely the second leading scorer on today's slate. It's not even remotely close to likely.
Well, not even remotely close to likely, you say?
No, Luka Doncic is very, 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 very clearly the highest likelihood to be any sort of spot in this scenario.
Yep.
There's no way that Chris Paul is highly likely to be very likely to be second. I don't even think he's the most likely to be second, let alone to be highly likely.
Right. Highly likely is where you lose me. If you say, hey, there's a fine chance that Chris Paul finishes with better numbers than Harden, Paul, or Butler and Booker, I'd say, yeah, sure there is. I mean, he's still good, but yeah,
we highly likely 5 fantasy points behind James Harden. That's like 75-25 to just Harden.
Let's get through the rest of this Phoenix team, because someone asked a question in chat and I need to ask you about it, because I agree with them that we need to get Josh's opinion. I tweeted my opinion on this, but I haven't gotten yours yet. Hit that thumbs up. 509 likes. I mean, at this point, let's get greedy.
Yeah.
600. We're almost 2,000 watching. If you haven't done so, atone for your sins and hit that thumbs up. Like one of those Pentecostal preachers from True Detective season 1. You know what I'm talking about?
Never saw it. No, I certainly don't. I only like good shows.
So let's keep going here. Outside of Booker and Paul, you get into just a bunch of guys that were already not great, even without Booker on the floor, but are still getting. I'm not surprised to see Bridges' ownership come down from where it was today. I thought 35% or whatever at 6,100 was nuts. He's
correct,
down to,
you mean?
what's that?
It was correct.
Well, it's a 64 or 24% now.
Yeah, so he's a great play now. I have him coming out of my
Yeah.
sim at 34.5. You basically explained my data.
Dude, I still don't get it. I think it was actually 40, but I still don't get it. How much Dorian Finney Smith do you have?
In comparison to what?
To Mikal Bridges.
I would rather have more Bridges than Smith.
They're like the same player. One of them's cheaper. Dorian Finney Smith's cheaper, and he's going to play 44 plus minutes.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I was thinking about that as Bullock and Dorian Finney Smith. Sorry, my apologies. I was looking at. I thought I was the reason that I reacted like that was because I just thought we talked about that.
Gotcha. I was saying in comparison to Bridges.
I have Bridges 5 fantasy points ahead of Dorian Finney Smith.
Really?
Yeah.
See, they're the same player for DFS purposes. The one's cheaper.
Are they? Are they though?
Dude, Bridges had that one good game. Outside of that, he's pretty much just he's just running around out there.
I mean, I have Bridges a bit better as like a general rate than Dorian Finney Smith.
He is a little bit better, but I think Finney Smith plays more minutes. And anyway, that's fine. You like Mikal Bridges.
I think they play the same amount of minutes.
Do you like Crowder or any of these other, and DeAndre Ayton? Let's wrap it up with that too.
Well, I've got a little bit of interest in Cam Johnson. He's only at 12% ownership. I think he can fit pretty well in this series. I don't think it's much of a problem. So I think he's going underrepresented, whereas I think Jay Crowder is probably like a little bit overrepresented. And then DeAndre Ayton, I mean, it's a great spot for him. 8,100 on FanDuel, 7,700 on DraftKings. The problem with Ayton is that he's not as good as Bam Adebayo.
Right.
Clearly, I'd be happy to get to him. It's a great matchup for him.
All right. This is the question that someone wanted to ask, and then we're going to turn this over to Eric and to Greg. By the way, shout out to your boy Jordan Klein, producing today's show. Always doing a fantastic job. 21 likes away from 19 away. Get him for our boy Jordan. What are you drinking? Are you drinking one of those weird boba teas again?
Cold brew.
Oh, okay. Cold brew. I got you. Josh, flagrant 2 or not on Draymond Green. Perfect way to close the show. This has been a fun one. I say no way.
I don't have a problem with it because he's him.
I should have expected an answer like this. What does that mean?
Look, I mean, to get him across the face and then drag him down is kind of bad.
He broke his fall.
He made him fall.
And then he broke it. Meet me in the middle. Flagrant 1.5 or something, but it's not a flagrant.
Calm down, Bill Simmons. That's the same thing his ass said last night.
Said what?
We would call it a flagrant 1.5.
Oh, I don't steal jokes and I don't listen to Bill Simmons, but
that podcast popped up while I was in the car last night with an hour to go. I was in like Harrisburg. I was like, oh, fine. I need something new. Talk about the basketball games.
Yeah, but I'm not shitting on Bill Simmons either. I'm just saying I did not listen to that. What I meant is the initial was like, oh, and then he caught his fall. So I think he gets some points back. It's like in school you get an F, but then the teacher gives you extra credit to get you out of that F.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
That's kind of what Draymond did.
Hey, they didn't rescind it, so I'm with the league.
If it wasn't Dre, it would have been a flagrant 1. Jordan put a poll up. We'll see what that.
Yeah,
happens.
I agree. I think it's way less likely to be a flagrant 2 for somebody else.
I say, I'm just gonna take that role of let him play. You know those guys. It's just like everything is soft. Let him play, Josh. Let him play.
Look, if they called it a flagrant 1, I wouldn't clamor for a flagrant 2. But like, I don't. It's like this is like a challenge in the NFL. Like, I don't think there's enough video evidence to overturn it.
Are you benching now? Jack off ass. Are you benching? Do you bench?
Yeah.
What can you bench?
I have no idea.
Really?
I mean, like, it's something different every time, building to like new plateaus. So like one day I do one thing and then the next day it's like way more weight, but hardly any reps.
Next time you go, let me know what your single rep max is. Let me know what a single rep weight is that you can do. I'm curious.
175, 180.
No, you could single rep more than 175.
I don't know. Yeah, like I've never done it, so I have no idea.
I can single rep well above 2. So if you can,
I don't know.
You're looking good, man. Starting to look.
I appreciate you. It's in the mirror. It's noticeable, but yeah, like the way that it's just working right now, I think in like 4 weeks we're testing it again, so I'd be able to tell you.
All right. Well, let me know. Some people in here 300 pounds. I'm never getting that. Never. No. Anyway, appreciate you guys.
I've been lifting for 4 months, like on the bench. Like it's just never been anything I've ever done. I never lifted in my life before starting with my trainer last year. Though, I feel fucking fantastic, man.
Fucking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just started back up 4 months ago as well. I used to frequently, but
I'm gonna cut carbs pretty aggressively over the next 2 months and just get shredded.
Yeah, you're gonna do it? Just straight protein. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it. See you in July.
There we go. Oh, then it is gonna be a brothel by the end of it.
I'm gonna shoot you in the arm. All right, we'll see you back here next show. Stick around. Live Before Lock coming up next. YouTube. I'm kidding. I'm not shooting Josh in the arm. Peace.
Yeah, please don't. Only if you're manscaped.
I'll bring my weed whacker.
There you go.
did play a lot of Paddock, though. And I bet the over on strikeouts.
I don't mind that. Mullins has been bad.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Awesemo NBA Live Before Lock show. We are sponsored by Prize Picks today. I'm here with Eric. I'm here with Jordan. At least for the moment, I know they spent some good quality time together bonding. Eric, Jordan, and of course, Duke Lindquist. How is hanging out with Jordan this weekend, Eric?
Oh, God, it's just a beautiful time. Jordan Klein, the best producer in the game. named Jordan Klein. I don't think it's remotely close either. So Duke really likes the man. It was good to see him. It was good to get some hangout time with my bros. I don't know. I think Duke might be the favorite of all of my friends when it comes, or that Jordan might be the favorite of Duke's by all my friends, which is just saying something. That's saying something.
Yeah, it's unfortunately he did not take me up on my bribe, which was I texted it. Apparently Duke didn't read my text, but Duke, who had a little bit of a stomach bug, you sent a video of Duke. He was jumping all over Jordan. He was licking his face, and I really wanted Duke to just revert back to his stomach illness just for a minute and throw up on Jordan Klein. But Duke was not taking the bait. He really does like Jordan Klein, which I think does say a lot about Jordan Klein's character. And right off the bat, because we're going to have to talk a little bit about NBA DFS as well. Do us a favor, guys, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Who is going to start for the Philadelphia 76ers today?
Paul Reed.
I hope
it's got to be Paul Reed, right? And I'm lock and load. I'm going to have 100% of him if he plays. So there's that. If he's starting, if he's not, I still think you have to be taking strong consideration. And here's what I'm wondering, Greg. Is it beneficial to us to have Paul Reed starting where everybody plays him 75%? Or is it more beneficial to get Paul Reed playing almost like I find it impossible that if DeAndre Jordan starts or George Niang starts or something weird like that happens, that you're still not getting 24 plus minutes out of Paul Reed in this spot. And so like, do we even want him to start compared to the fact that like, it's just a free square in the event that he does?
Are you new to Doc Rivers? Paul Reed could easily not start and play 0 minutes.
Well, thanks for that reality check. Good,
yeah.
Good to have freaking who brought the good news bear? Give him some fucking honey. Jesus. Name that movie.
I have no clue what movie that is. My preference is just my preference is for Paul Reed to start because that's a couple reasons. Number one, I've already built my lineups as if he's starting. I don't want to have to change shit. But then number two, also, I'm just so uncertain of what the rotation looks like if it's not Paul Reed. If DeAndre Jordan ends up in the starting lineup, I mean, just fuck off, Doc Rivers. I don't want to deal with that. The thing that makes most sense, Loughran and I talked about on the strategy show this morning, if DeAndre Jordan starts, bet the Heat minus 2.5 in the first quarter.
Yep.
But that to me is the move that I'm making here. Sure. For DFS though, I just if DeAndre Jordan starts, I think Paul Reed is viable for minutes. I think like Charles Bassey could play minutes. I think they could go so many different directions here. So I just want it to be Paul Reed. I think he's the best option. That's what I feel most comfortable in. And anything else happens, and it's just I press the panic button. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to kick it.
Okay. Nope. You're all good. You're all good. I mean, it was just one of those things. I had a little tickle in my throat. So I feel good about Paul Reed starting. I would have 100% of him. I feel atrocious about him not starting, but I still think I would have to play a lot of him in that spot. That's just kind of what I was prefacing for you is like, maybe it's just like one of those things where he's 75% on the 25% who aren't playing him pay the rake. Like that's kind of probably the right way to look at it. I guess the thing I'm cheering for is that starting lineup to come out as late as possible, but like with a noticeable time, not this Nas Reed BS that we had the other night. So yeah, maybe give me more than 5 seconds after lock. Like just give me 30 seconds before lock and I'll be fine.
So here's something that is somewhat beneficial to us. You know that we have a game about a month ago where Joel Embiid was out and Paul Reed was on the active roster. You're not going to feel great about looking at the minutes in that spot, though. Have you looked at that game?
I haven't looked at that game, no.
Okay, so this game was on, what was the date? So on March 21st, the Philadelphia 76ers played the Miami Heat. They won 113-106.
Oh, I remember this game. This is that stupid game DeAndre Jordan played like 25 minutes or whatever the shit it was.
The starting lineup.
I hate that game.
But do you remember who started at center?
Yeah, it was George Niang, right?
No, it was Paul Millsap.
Oh, it was Millsap. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Harden was out that night as well.
Okay.
So it was a weird, but so the starting lineup was Maxey, Harris, Niang, Millsap, and Thibault. And Paul Reed was not in the rotation. Paul Reed ended up playing 2 seconds of garbage time. This is why I don't like Doc Rivers. This is why I don't trust him with anything, because the rotations could get just so totally sideways. But yeah, they played the center rotation was 25 minutes for DeAndre Jordan, 23 minutes for Paul Millsap, who started. I want Reed to start. I think that just simplifies things for me. But I don't feel as confident as you that if Reed comes off the bench, he's a lock to play over 20 minutes.
Oh, no. I just think that in a world where he was already in the playoff rotation and somebody that was already getting those minutes, I find it impossible that he would just disappear altogether. Again, that would be like a truly FU move from Doc Rivers. I mean, Paul Reed was playing the 9, 8, 12-minute role or whatever it was for the last couple games. And that just, I would expect for him to basically double that allotment, even if you get DeAndre Jordan starting. Maybe that's just wishful thinking because then you get a lower owned Paul Reed. But yeah, in the event that he starts, I guess anybody not playing him is just paying the rake. I would just play an infinite amount.
As of right now, Paul Reed is my guy. We seem to be on the same page as that. And then hopefully we'll get this starting lineup sometime within the next, 15 to 20 minutes. And we'll be able to react to it. If it's Paul Reed, cool. We've kind of already covered that situation. If it's not, I don't know who else it's going to be. And then we'll have to break down something else. Because like we said, Niang, DeAndre Jordan, even Paul Millsap, all live to start in this spot. But the other guy who's going to be key now as we kind of go position by position and talk through the guards. I think James Harden is the best pay up option on the slate. There's no Joel Embiid for the Philadelphia 76ers. If you look at his numbers since he came to Philly, when Joel Embiid's off the court, 36% usage rate. I know there's been times where Harden's been a little bit passive this year. I know that there's been times, particularly with the Philadelphia 76ers, where Joel Embiid has called him out publicly for being too passive and not taking enough shots. But if you look at the numbers this year, when he's off the court, just to reiterate, it's a 36% usage rate. It's not a crazy sample size. It's 185 minutes or something along those lines. But I think Harden is the best guy to pay up for. Do you see it the same way?
Yeah, not even close. So we have him in. Again, you can now change the allotted fantasy point per minute and around 1.23 in our Awesemo projections, the way that we've projected him out. He's got 41 minutes. There's, of course, game scripts where this can get sideways and he doesn't play nearly as much. I would assume that would be because the Heat just slaughtered them. It wouldn't be the other way around. And again, it's a Miami defensive matchup that I think lowers it. But to kind of piggyback off of that, not only does Joel Embiid, or not only does James Harden see extra usage without Joel Embiid, but he's a 1.45 DraftKings points per minute player across all situations with Embiid off the floor this season. So, yeah, maybe he's not the same guy that was there with the Rockets, not the same guy with Brooklyn even at times, but he's still James Harden, sub 10K with all the usage and opportunity going his way. I got to assume that this is just a spot where you play a lot of him. If the field's going to be what kind of concentrated or questionable about it, sure, he's 57% over on FanDuel. I don't care. I'm going to be over that number. But DK specifically, where he's under 50%, I think that's just wrong.
And I think you brought up a really key point there, which is you said that you don't care if he's not the player that he used to be. And I tend to agree. I don't think this is the peak MVP James Harden anymore. He's still damn good, though. He's still an all-star. Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing. He's not priced as the same guy either. Back in the day, when we used to see James Harden play without Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, whoever it may be that was his secondary star at the time, remember, he used to be as high as like 14,000 on FanDuel. He's sub 10K on both DK and FanDuel. So same page as you. I'm playing a whole bunch of James Harden. He's my favorite pay up option. We have a super chat here from my filler arc. Gorgeous George Niang, a good pivot question mark. Since Heat will probably throw 7 players at Harden every time he has the ball, but that'd be a little much to throwing guys on the bench at him also. And then you got maybe the refs start tackling him also. So include, he actually brought that up in the next part, including Hero and Dedmon from the bench, and they will need threes from Niang and Green. I really like this point. And I brought this up earlier. I brought this up in previous games too. If you are really outmanned talent-wise and you're in a game where you're a big underdog, the way you equalize it is you up the variance. How do you up the variance? You take as many 3-pointers as possible. Does that open up the possibility you lose the game by 30? Yeah, for sure. But realistically, if the Heat and the Sixers just play straight up, the Heat win this game, I don't know, 8 out of 10 times. So I think what the 76ers have to do here is get as many shooters on the court as possible, shoot as often as possible. And I think there's a possibility that we see Niang play extended minutes if the Sixers get down for that reason. So I do like getting overweight to the field on Niang. I'm on the same page here as my filler arc. Do you like Niang at all as a pivot?
I mean, go Cyclones. It's not that hard for me to like Niang. I'm on board. My alma mater, he was a guy confirmed could make a 3-pointer or two over the course of this season. 41.5% from 3. Why not put him out there for extended minutes? We saw it in that last series. He got extended run when they were in Toronto, absent Matisse Thybulle. I'm a little bit worried about how some of those minutes are going to shake out, what they're going to do with Matisse Thybulle, because another way that you could possibly up it is you just try to put the clamps down play this slow kind of grind out style Miami likes already, and you just put Matisse Thybulle out there for a bunch of minutes. So I do get a little bit worried, but no doubt about it, because offensively, you need that space. How do you create space? You have knockdown shooters. You have James Harden creating off the dribble, and Georges Niang, you definitely want him in the quarter shooting and not Matisse Thybulle in those kind of situations. No question about it. So I'm with you. I am worried because I don't know how those minutes shake out. Without Embiid here in a playoff situation, I know defensively, Thybulle is definitely somebody who can be an asset in that regard, but he's just a 31.3% shooter from three. You're looking at an exponentially better option offensively in Niang. So definitely somebody that's going to be in my lineups. I like him more on FanDuel. I'm getting to a lot more of him over there. He's 4,100 on the DK slate. You do get that bump up for threes, but looking over at 3,600 on FanDuel, that's definitely going to be in play for me no matter what.
Yeah, he's just so low owned, and it's a 2 game slate. We talk about this on 2 gamers where you're just trying to find anybody low owned with reason to think there's upside, and it makes them a viable option. Niang's only projected for 12% ownership on FanDuel. And then on DK, I hear you that he's a little bit more expensive, but he's only projected for 8% ownership. And I tend to think that if you play this slate out 100 times, Niang ends up being optimal way more than 8 of those times. So I like being overweight to Niang as well, just because, like we said, there's a path where he has to play extended minutes and shoot threes. And we've seen this from him before. But where we've seen him suck in these spots also, but we've seen the upside as well, where he's come off the bench, hit a few threes.
Well, and he's also in our tools. He's the second most leveraged guy in the boom bust tool. That's not a shocker to me when you get some of these higher variance guys who actually have a path. He's not that expensive at 4,100 over on DK. He's only optimal 14.2% of the time, but remember, that's just the number of times he's optimal. That doesn't mean that you have to build the absolute perfect line. But we've seen multiple times on these 2 gamers. Yeah, there have been some splits for first where it's been perfect, but there's opportunities for Niang to work out for you and be very, very profitable with that lineup as you move up in stakes, as you move up in number of entries. Obviously, you kind of need that outlier shooting game, but at 4,100, it's hard for me to believe that if he gets 24 minutes with the amount of usage up for grabs absent Joel Embiid, we're talking about 35% usage that's going to be spread around this team. I feel pretty good about taking shots with Niang today.
Super chat here from I Hustle For It. And I think this is a good way to start talking about some of the Heat guards, and then we'll talk about some of the other pay up options. But we have I Hustle For It is asking us, what are you thinking of Hero and the respiratory illness? I'm playing 97 lineups on FanDuel. He's in 56 of them at the moment. Is that too much? Let's see. Where am I at? No, I don't think that's ridiculous at all. Tyler Hero, a couple things to consider. Number one, he's got crazy good positionality on FanDuel because he's small forward eligible for reasons that are unknown, but he's also reasonably priced at 5,600, and Kyle Lowry's out. Yeah, I understand that apparently he's not totally 100%. He played 21 minutes 2 games ago. Maybe that's part of the reason why, but he played 33 minutes the game after. I'm not too concerned about the respiratory illness for Tyler Hero. And it seems like all the guys that are listed as questionable or were listed as questionable are going to be in for Miami. So I don't have any issue with Tyler Hero being in about half your lineups. Do you have an issue with that?
No, and one of the main reasons is, did you hand build anything on FanDuel? Because it's surprisingly hard to build lineups over there today. Like there is some give and take. The projection falls off a cliff on some of these guys. I talked about liking Niang. Part of that is that if we don't get Paul Reed starting, at least 3,600 Niang is going to be something that I can play regardless. If Niang's starting, obviously fire him up at will, up that variance. Let's go. But I feel as though FanDuel is pretty tight and pretty constrictive. And getting a guy like Tyler Hero there at 5,600 who has that kind of ability, I think it's a pretty good built-in floor. He's extremely popular, but I don't know how with pricing as tight as what it is over there today compared to other FanDuel slates than these other 2 gamers or 3 gamers we've had through the playoffs. I think he's pretty necessary over there.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best value plays on the slate, especially considering the positions he has. So I don't have any issue with that. In fact, I even if you had more exposure to that, I wouldn't have an issue. In the build I have more than that.
Super 78% for what that matters.
There you go.
Cares. Yeah,
no issue with it. I hustle for it. Super chat from Jeff Williams, Harden and Bullock, or Maxey and Booker for a high dollar single entry DK GPP. Thanks for all you do. That is Harden and Bullock for me.
Harden and Bullock for sure. Can we talk about Maxey? I mean, we're talking about guards, and I think Booker I like. I'm not going to be going crazy with him today. I think I'm pretty much making my stand James Harden and Luka, and then just punting out of my mind everywhere. Not to stars and scrubs it because it's pretty hard to do, but it's more of like, I just like the raw points that I'm going to be getting out of guys like that. I'm kind of on the short end with guys like Maxey. He's up to 7,400 now on DK. I feel like almost not full fading, but 25% feels a little bit hefty for him today.
It's about fair, just because you start to look at the Philadelphia 76ers and just where does the usage go when there's no Joel Embiid on the court. And we talked about James Harden, 36% usage rate, but then 26.4% to Maxey. He also scores 38 fantasy points per 36 minutes without Embiid. Then Tobias Harris, 29% usage rate, 41 fantasy points per 36 minutes. I don't have a strong Maxey stand. I think everything looks about appropriate.
Okay. Just, for me, about appropriate is not as good as for me, Harden and Bullock. Looking at it for DK, obviously we've seen both play a crazy amount of minutes. You remember earlier in the season when Jason Kidd was getting shit for not playing Reggie Bullock, and now it's just all full reign. I mean, obviously there's no Tim Hardaway Jr. A lot of things have changed. No Kristaps Porzingis, but Bullock has played really freaking good real life basketball for this team.
That's a good pull. I totally forgot about
you remember that?
That was like 2 weeks into the season where somebody asked, hey, you guys just signed, I'm paraphrasing a little bit because it's also, you brought this up and I remember it, but a reporter said, hey, you guys just signed Reggie Bullock to this, somewhat significant contract in the offseason. Why is he not getting minutes? And Jason Kidd basically said, you don't tell me how to coach my team. This isn't the guy I want playing. Well, not the case anymore because Reggie Bullock plays like 46 minutes in playoff games. Yeah. So, I mean, he's not a very good points from a fantasy producer, but it doesn't matter when you're playing 46 minutes. And the ceiling isn't incredibly high with him, but the floor is. So I do agree that he's somebody to get to today. Super chat here from Jordan Lockhart. What up, my dudes? There we go. I hope Ryan's watching and is triggered by that. Super chat from Jermaine Dorsey. FanDuel showdown, Mavs versus Suns. Favorite play or is 3-2 stacked the way to pay window?
I built showdown for the first game because I didn't know if we were going to talk about something in that regard. Let me pull up. We could talk about it. We could talk about this right now because this is the Chris Paul Devin Booker thing is something I wanted to discuss a lot anyway. Mm-hmm. Over the entire course of the regular season, who is more expensive, Chris Paul or Devin Booker? Devin Booker.
And who is more popular generally, Chris Paul or Devin Booker?
Devin Booker.
And now we're in a situation where Devin Booker is back, and I understand there's question marks. Right. He might not be 100%. He didn't look 100% last game. But on DraftKings, Chris Paul is more expensive than Devin Booker. He's also more popular than Devin Booker. On FanDuel, Chris Paul is more expensive than Devin Booker. He's also more popular than Devin Booker. I don't think that should be the case. And once again, I understand there's question marks with Devin Booker's health. I don't care as much in tournaments, though. I want to take shots on Devin Booker. It's not quite as strong as a play as it was this morning when Loughran and I were doing the strategy show. Booker was like projected for 12% ownership, and that's come up since then. But I do not think Devin Booker is going to be very popular. And there is a chance that he just comes back and looks 100% today, and he is back to being the guy for the Phoenix Suns. Something else to mention when it comes to Chris Paul. Chris Paul had one of the best games we've ever seen a point guard play last time out. He shot 14 of 14 from the field and barely had a good fantasy game. On FanDuel, he was 10,200 and scored 51 fantasy points. On DK, where he was in the high 9K range, he scored 52. If he goes 9 of 14 from the field, which is still an excellent game, he would have been shit relative to his price point. And I think that people are way, way too eager to play a really expensive Chris Paul. I prefer getting to Devin Booker here. This could look, not great if Devin Booker just comes out and hamstring is an issue and he's still kind of going 60%. But I think this is the pivot to make. And then you just hope that Devin Booker is healthy because I think he's going to end up going fairly low, and particularly in single entry tournaments.
I'm with you. I don't have any shares of Chris Paul. I'm playing 45 lineups on FanDuel. I have one lineup with Chris Paul. So there you go. I'm just going to remove him out of that because if you're going to have one of him, I might as well just have 0 of him. He's 10-1 over there. And I've talked about it before. If I'm going to play Luka, I'm going to play James Harden. Where do I find money or opportunity to really fall on Chris Paul in a limited number of lineups? It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to do it. So I'm on board with you. Yeah, Devin Booker, maybe you have question marks about a hamstring, but I feel like this is the same thing we saw with Phoenix last season when I was very heavy on campaign in some spots where I'm like, maybe Chris Paul is hurt. And again, maybe Devin Booker's hurt, but because Chris Paul's already 10-1 over there on FanDuel, 9,100 on DK, I think he's all right to get to. but I'm much prefer getting to Luka and James Harden. Booker, again, I think he's still a good player. I don't know what those minutes are going to look like, but the first time that he goes out and plays 40, you're going to want to have him, or 38, you're going to want to have him. And that could be today. It could be 2 games from now. It's just going to happen. And if you aren't there, you're going to miss the boat on it. So I think you want to be around at the field. Like for me, I'm just a little bit over 23% on DK, 27%. But Chris Paul, I have 7% of on DraftKings. I just don't find him necessary to this slate. I think he's a little bit more suited for DraftKings purely because of that price tag. But I'm with you where I think Booker just makes the better tournament play.
For what it's worth also, because I just pulled up the sport, I just had a thought in my head about a sports bet angle for this. And I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe the alternate props for Booker are really playable. Because I was thinking like, what if we could get Chris Paul like 30 plus points at 10-1 or something like that? But that's already priced in. He's actually, his over under for points is 24.5. So take it for what it's worth. Sports books are expecting he's going to be fairly healthy today. And I was hoping
it was just 20.5 last game for those who want any kind of a reference. I mean, 20.5 was his number last game.
Yeah. So it's up to, for a lot of the regular season, he was like a 27.5, 28 over under. So it's still priced in a little bit, but it's not like this is some low number. I was hoping it would be low. And like I said, alternate lines, but anyway, to Jermaine Dorsey's question, that's my favorite tournament play for showdown slates would be going to Devin Booker. And then same also for large field tournaments. I do like getting Devin Booker. I think he's going to end up going under-owned. For you, do you have a favorite showdown play for that game?
I'm looking at the price,
by the way, also.
Yeah. Oh, it's on FanDuel. Oh, yes. Shit. Okay. FanDuel for the Dallas Phoenix game.
Yes.
Luka MVP. Hi. How are you? If I'm trying to get different as well, this is where I think the game or this entire series is really going to come down to what are we going to get out of DeAndre Ayton this time around? DeAndre Ayton last time through the playoffs was magnificent. He did some really quality things. He doesn't always need the usage, but in the absence of Devin Booker, we saw 28, 24, 24% usage. It was down to 16%, but he still made a massive impact to that game. All around box score, 7 boards, 4 assists, looked really, really good. Jonas Valanciunas kind of showed him up a little bit, I would say, in game 5. J-Val just completely went nuts on him.
I have bad news.
What? Oh, fuck. Are you kidding me? This is so bad. Well, can I finish? Can I finish this one thing about DeAndre Ayton? Just because it is what it is. Doc Rivers is seriously the devil. He's the worst. 8,100 DeAndre Ayton. I'm looking at him for FanDuel purposes for the regular slate. For the single game slate, I mean, Doc Rivers, what in God's green earth? Though I've just completely lost my train of thought. This is a joke, right? This is a joke.
I mean, they just give out these doctorates like they're nothing these days. These guys have no qualifications. They come in, it's like doctorate, whatever. We're taking away his doctorate. He's back. What's his real name?
I have no idea.
All right. We're calling him by his real name from now on. Glenn. All right. Glenn Rivers is the coach of the 76ers now. He's lost his doctorate. Go screw yourself, Glenn. We want to B-ball Paul. We don't want DeAndre Jordan. Bring back Paul Reed. All right, some more super chats to get to. We have, and we'll wrap up these super chats and we'll hit on DeAndre Jordan starting. From
Ayton's
Tyrone,
my favorite contrarian play. There you go.
Yeah, because by the way, I need a second. I also want to wait a second for us to get ownership updates before we discuss it. But for everybody's reference, DeAndre Jordan starting at center in place of Joel Embiid. We're going to hit on that for a while after this, but want to wrap up this and get some ownership updates. From Tyrone Pearson. Best point per dollar shooting guard and center. I don't know if this is a DraftKings or a FanDuel question, so let's just answer it for both. Best points per dollar shooting guard and center. Bam Adebayo, both sites, without a doubt. Although even at guard, it's James Harden on both. It's James Harden and Bam Adebayo on both sites. Would you agree with that?
Yep, both for me.
All right.
Yep.
Next question from John Bryant. 2 best punt plays on center. You guys rock. Well, I hate to say it, but DeAndre Jordan's probably one of them now.
I'm just so upset. This is just insane. You did see his tag on DK, right?
Whose?
DeAndre Jordan's.
Oh, no. What is it?
5,200.
Oh, is it? I assumed that he was really cheap.
I assumed he did. He was too. So I'm going to disagree and say I don't want to play him at 5,200. On FanDuel, he's the flat min. That's where you are probably running into a headache and you probably want to throw up and die.
So FanDuel, yes. By the way, I just assumed he was cheap on DK. So I would be incorrect there. DeAndre Jordan, not somebody I have a lot of interest in on DK at least. But this just makes that whole situation suck. As for another punt play, is there another guy with center eligibility that you really like as a punt play today?
So,
actually, Dwight Powell center eligibility.
But here, I'm very worried about Dwight Powell. So watching that Utah game, and again, it's a new series, new situation, but if anybody was watching, and I'm curious if anybody else noticed this, because I didn't see anything about it on SportsCenter or anywhere else afterwards. No talking heads brought it up. But Dwight Powell, Luka pointed to the bench after Dwight Powell missed a dunk and said, "Get him out of here." And Maxi Kleber came on and played the rest of the game. You saw Dwight Powell sit the entire section. He literally missed a dunk on an oop that Luka set up perfectly, and he ripped Dwight Powell off the floor. Jason Kidd just yanked him off and didn't play. I have no idea what to make of those minutes, but if he's going to be 33.8%, there is definitely a trend where I think that you're looking at kind of a committee playing the 5 there, and they might just refrain from going crazy with Dwight Powell. Now, I bet he still starts in this spot, but it's just something where I feel a little bit more uncomfortable having seen that, knowing that that's a potential. Now, DeAndre Ayton's a little bit different. He can be an offensively centric center, whereas Rudy Gobert, we kind of know the faults on that end of the floor for him. So it's a little bit different, but Dwight Powell, I am a little bit more worried about. Maxi Kleber, 3,800 is somebody that I'm taking more of a stand. Not they're equal ownership on it, but I think playing power forward center Maxi Kleber is just fine by me.
By the way, we should mention the Miami Heat starting lineup because this morning a lot of people were saying that they thought that Victor Oladipo would start. He is not. It is Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo starting for the Heat. A couple more super chats, then we'll hit on that on the starting lineup, and hopefully we have some sort of run of ownership. First from our guy Jordan Lockhart, free super chat didn't seem right. Time for another win tonight, taking one down. I don't doubt it. Good luck tonight, Jordan. Super chat here from Ryan Nelson. -4 on the Miami Heat is a lock. Thank the Lord for Doc Rivers. That is Glenn Rivers. We mentioned he's lost his doctorate now. That is Glenn Rivers. My filler arc, another super chat. Shake Milton or campaign and Champagne on DK. Last man in.
He plays for Toronto, I thought.
So. Yeah, I don't know why he got brought up there, but either way, no Milton or campaign. I slightly prefer campaign.
I slightly prefer campaign too. Somebody that last season played a pretty meaningful role. And if you're going to get limitations of any kind for, it's also a game one where I think if you get campaign getting out there and making a meaningful impact, he only played 12 minutes, but it played really good in that one game last series. But there were multiple times where they extended his minutes to like 18, 20 last year when he got off to really good starts and was really good offensively. Plus he's 3,400. I think he's definitely a part of that rotation, and we know it. I don't really know what to make of Shake Milton, absent everybody else here. He's played a fewer allotment of minutes. He's really not going to have any usage when he's on the floor, so give me campaign.
All right. Now, let's do it. Let's talk about the thing that we didn't want to talk about. We knew it was a possibility, but we didn't want to bring it up. DeAndre Jordan is starting. I personally think Paul Reed is a much weaker play now. You could still consider him in tournaments, but I am going to drastically lower my exposure to Paul Reed. I have very little confidence in his minutes. What are you going to do with him?
I don't know. Like what? I think I still want to play a lot of him. We'll see what happens to his ownership in the next 23 minutes. I'm worried. What I always get worried about with guys like this is that people maybe already make their lineups and then they just don't move it, or they like the way their lineups look with the cheap guy over on FanDuel, 4,100. Maybe it's a little bit easier to just leave it. But I mean, I think I prefer Kleber to him straight up now for sure over on FanDuel, 4K as opposed to 4,100 Reed. I still like Reed more than Powell because I'm under the assumption that he's in the doghouse until further notice. They were able to go out and win the end of that series without him closing. It's a game one. You can hit the reset button on certain things like that, but I feel as though right now I want to play a lot of him. I want to play a lot. I'm hoping that the ownership comes down to a reasonable extent. Maybe you get like a 10, 12% Paul Reed over on FanDuel. I think that might be the site where I get some more exposure. I think on DK, it's going to be very hard for me to land on him with the almost equal tag on him there. I think we have some other guys around that range that are just going to be easier. I think it's so hard. It's a really, really hard guessing game of what to do. 14 and a half minutes is the projection on him right now. That's just uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable where we're at right now.
So first of all, for FanDuel, like we're talking about before, when it comes to DeAndre Jordan, it's hard to not consider him at the min price on 3,500 because DeAndre Jordan sucks now, right? He's a terrible basketball player, but I mean, even if we give him 18 minutes, he's viable on FanDuel at min price. DraftKings, where like we were talking about before, he's fairly expensive. He is 5,200. I'm not going to be considering him on DraftKings. I'm still waiting to see if we have a fresh ownership, which we don't. But I think what you said before is true. How much interest I have in Paul Reed is going to totally be determined of what the ownership is here, because he was projected to be 40% owned on DraftKings and 53% on FanDuel. If he's still going to be in half of the field's lineups, I have so much concern about his playing time that I just wouldn't really want to get to him as a massive chalk play. But now if him coming off the bench reduces his ownership to like 10%, then yeah, I want to take shots on him in tournaments. But we have to see what that looks like in a couple minutes when it comes through. Does this impact anybody else on the Sixers for you?
I mean, this is just a really hard thing. The reason you can hear it, and somebody just said that, Eric needs a shot, Eric nervously answering that question is hilarious. My thing is I want to give you good information. I want to tell you what I'm doing because I'm confident in my process. I'm confident that I can win money over a long period of time if you give me enough NBA slates. And I don't want to say something, or I'm still trying to grasp what's going on here in this situation because I just didn't expect that. Like, we should obviously all know that DeAndre Jordan starting was always a possibility. We all knew this with everything in us, but like, I was under the assumption that Paul Reed was still going to be a guy that I wanted to play a lot of. And now I think it's just one of those waiting games where you have to see what that ownership is. And I don't want to say something right now that is not true in 20 minutes. If people tune out or leave or do something else, I want to be able to tell you what I'm planning on doing. And I just don't have a good grasp of what these minutes could be. I'm going through box scores from multiple situations where we've had this. And, maybe this is stuff I could have done earlier, but for the most part, it just comes down to ownership. I think we got to just talk about it from a DFS perspective. If Paul Reed ends up in that threshold where he's 15% or lower on either side, I think we just have to full bore still play him a lot. I think we have to be under the assumption, because he's such a good fantasy point per minute guy too. It's not that it's just the price, and it's not just that everything else was there. If he was starting, I would have just had 100% and would have been able to move on with the other 7 parts of my lineup on DK or 8 on FanDuel. But he's a 1.13 fantasy point per minute guy on DK. He's going to be out there without a Joel Embiid or anybody else that would kind of like hinder that ratio. Like, it would have been the nuts to have him in that spot. But I think we'll see what happens in the next 19 minutes.
We just got an ownership update.
Okay, what are we at?
Paul Reed, his ownership has come down. He's still fairly popular though.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm really, really, really worried about. I think it's going to be very, very tough to predict what's going to happen in this standpoint. I think as you get into sharper fields, as you get to like the $20, you're almost better off playing Paul Reed. And I think as you go down to like the $4 or the $1 or something like that, you're better off not playing him, because I bet enough people keep him in their lineups over there. Does that sound like it makes sense?
I just think whatever our ownership is probably better than what I'm going to be able to guess when it comes to Paul Reed.
I can't.
He's still projected to be 35% owned on FanDuel. That's a number I want to be underneath the field on. On DraftKings, he is projected for. Why can I not spell Reed? It's not that hard. REED. He's projected for 26.5% ownership on DraftKings. I don't want that much of Paul Reed now that he's coming off the bench.
Yeah, I don't either. Better question. What are you going to do with DeAndre Jordan on FanDuel?
Play him.
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of him. I think you kind of have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, so DeAndre Jordan is no longer a viable NBA player. I know Glenn Rivers might think elsewise, but he's no longer a viable NBA player, but he's starting and he scores around a fantasy point per minute. And, like at a minimum, he's playing what? Listen how upset Duke is at Glenn. At a minimum, we have to expect like probably 18 minutes from DeAndre Jordan, right? And he scored over a fantasy point per minute this year. So, you're getting to a point where it's hard to not project him for somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 fantasy points at the flat min price on FanDuel. Yeah, he's a really good value option.
Yep. And he has to be played. It sucks. I don't want to. You could get 12 out of him and he would still be viable. Like he still has a chance to be optimal. It is so rare you get 3,500 in play on these kind of slates. It's too, I'd say he's too cheap to fail basically at 3,500. And you can play Bam Adebayo at power forward. You're basically giving up DeAndre Ayton, excuse me. I think you're basically giving him up, but there's really nothing else. JaVale McGee, it would be really frustrating to have a guy like McGee, who's just a much better fantasy point per minute player, 1.32 on the season. If you saw McGee play 16, 18 minutes, he played awesome in that Pelican series. He knows his role. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. If DeAndre Jordan only plays like 18, 20 minutes, you've got McGee who could just smash him to smithereens. So there is a part of me that still wants to get over the field on McGee now. McGee is going to be relatively unowned completely. And that one pivot alone could be the difference between tournaments being won or lost.
My mom is calling me and texting me about nonsense right now. I told her it's not.
Glenn Rivers.
Yeah, she's coming home from Florida, and we have dinner plans in a few days. And she wants to know what the model of my car is. Who cares? What difference does it make? We got a super chat here from Anthony Davis. Would you play Jordan and Reed together at all? No.
Would you play Jordan and Reed together? Look, they're both cheap. They could split the center minutes. There's no problem in playing them together. I gotta assume that there is a real chance that one plays a lot more than the other, but to just outwardly say I don't want to get to one of them alongside the other is probably wrong on FanDuel. On DK, yes. I think because of 5,200 DeAndre Jordan, if you are brave enough to take that kind of a shot, yeah, I probably don't want to have Paul Reed in those lineups. I'm just going to say, DeAndre Jordan's going to play 24, 26 minutes. You're going to get maybe 18 or 20 out of Reed, and maybe Harris plays some small ball 5 or something.
All right. I think we're all caught up on super chats now. That took up a lot of time, and rightfully so. I think that's the most important thing that was going to happen on the entire slate. But let's just round up the forward position, or maybe just who are the players who maybe we'll go position by position, talk about the guys we're getting the most exposure to. But first, kind of rounding up the forwards, who are the guys that are most important to you at small forward and power forward?
Yeah, Max Strus is going to be somebody that we haven't talked about, but I think he's going to show up in a lot of my lineups organically on DraftKings. Shooting guard, small forward, 4,700. It just fits pretty easily for me. We talked about Reggie Bullock. I think that's a guy for DK purposes. I mean, nobody at small forward grades out well. Nobody, absolutely nobody. And so for me, it just comes down to playing some of the cheaper guys that give me access to get up to the likes of Luka Doncic, the likes of Jimmy Butler, even a little bit. And then for sure want to get to some Devin Booker and James Harden, the priority, but Max Strus, just sub 5K. I think he's kind of a piece of value that's unavoidable. We got confirmation that he's starting, and I feel like that alone is just good enough that I want to play a lot of him.
Which, once again, I think was relatively to be expected. I know a lot of people, because we all played a whole bunch of Oladipo the last game, and it went really well. But realistically, he's not been a part of the Heat's rotation for most of the year. And when Lowry's been out, this has been the starting lineup. But just on that point, because I know he was something people were asking about earlier, any interest in you for Oladipo at all?
No, I'm not going to play him at 5,100. I'm going to have 0.
All right. Yeah, we are on the same page there when it comes to him. As for other forwards, I do think we've talked about some of the other guys that are most important for us at the forward position. But Dorian Finney-Smith, there's so many minutes that are going to him. I think that he is a really sensible option. So DFS, I'm playing him kind of the same stuff that when it came to Reggie Bullock. DFS is not the highest points per minute fantasy producer, but he played 46 minutes last game. His playing time in the series against Utah, 46, 41, 40, 47, 42, 44 minutes. It's so much playing time. It's hard to avoid. Are you also playing a lot of DFS?
I'm not playing a lot on DK. I mean, he's 5,800 and FanDuel, I believe 6,300 is the number. He's been awesome. Like, he's been a great two-way player for this team. He has shot the ball very efficiently, 4 for 9, 3 for 7, 3 for 6, 2 for 7. I mean, we've seen some decent shooting allotments from him that have just made this team click. Him and Bullock, you basically put them on the corners. You let Luka go one-on-one, have fun. Like, that's been the game plan here. He's 33.3% owned. He's a 0.7 fantasy point per minute guy. He's going to play 42 minutes barring foul trouble, but I just find that I want to get a little bit cheaper than him on DK. It's making my lineups work a little bit more. The 1,100 really comes in handy going to Strus. I think, 1,200 going down to Crowder even is just a little bit better path for me. If Dorian Finney-Smith has one of those games like he had last time out where he just shoots the ball phenomenally well, 7 to 13 from the floor, 4 of 9 from 3, 46 minutes, 41.5 fantasy points on DK, I might be in some trouble. But he's definitely not going to be like a 35% plus guy for me today. I just need cheaper guys.
Yeah, let's see. No, I'm a little bit overweight to the field on him. It's just a factor of how many minutes he's playing. So I don't really have any issue. Again, I have 24% of him. I'm just not at 33%. So, I mean, it's just, I need the savings. And,
if I'm going to try to spread it around a little bit, I still think George Niang makes sense. I think looking at the starting lineup, he's going to come off the bench. I think he's still going to have some shooting capabilities, and, him not starting, Paul Reed not starting, you're going to see some very reduced ownership on both of them.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't really think there was a path where Niang was going to start, but do you prefer Niang or Reed now? I like Niang better.
Oh God. Now you're asking the real questions. I would say that I like them equal because I'm playing them equal on FanDuel. I'm going to play them 26. Let me see. Where am I at? Yeah, I'm right around 25% on both of them. So there you go.
I mean, in theory, that kind of makes you prefer Niang more, just from a standpoint of that means you're underweight to Reed and overweight to Niang.
True. So relative to the field, there you go. Yes.
All right. How are you doing on your lineup upload, by the way? I'm struggling.
I'm doing okay.
I'm not quite panicking.
I'm not panicking, but I mean, you play two sites, you play baseball, you play basketball. It just is the life we live, Craig Ehrenberg.
Yes, it is.
This is the way I live.
It was the mistake I made, though, was also playing.
Stack my money, lay low, and chill.
The mistake I made was also playing Showdown for this and now trying to update that as well. All right, we've got super chats. These don't have questions, though. Andrew Newsom left us a super chat. There is no quote. There's a question afterwards. He wants to know, what is the update on DeAndre Jordan's ownership? Good question. I'll refresh that and see if we have any. All right, so DeAndre Jordan on DraftKings is projected for 4% ownership. Keep in mind, he's very popular there. He's only projected for 22% ownership on FanDuel. That is a number to be overweight to, in my opinion. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it so much. Also, for Showdown, what are you going to do for DeAndre Jordan at 6,400 on DraftKings.com for the Showdown? For the Showdown for everybody playing at home.
It's a one-game slate, so it's okay. But he's not a priority for me. Like, I'd rather roster Strus for cheaper or Vincent.
Yeah, for context, you have 7,400 Hero. You have 6,400 DeAndre Jordan. One of these things is not like the other one.
I would much rather play Tyler Hero at the same price as DeAndre Jordan than DeAndre Jordan.
I'm playing tons of Bam and Captain, by the way. Bam is just going to destroy DeAndre Jordan's life.
I tend to agree with that. Super chat from Darnell Canty. He said, can you talk about Dinwiddie looks to you on this slate on DK? All right. So he wants to know what our thoughts on Dinwiddie are over on DraftKings. So I like Dinwiddie a lot on FanDuel, where he's 5,200. DraftKings, though, where he is 5,600. And there's some other guys who I think are kind of priced a little bit better or similarly to him, like a Tyler Hero that I think look better. I don't have that much interest in Spencer Dinwiddie on DraftKings. I do on FanDuel. Is Dinwiddie making into a lot of your DK lineups?
I have him in 4%. I don't find him. I think it's a pretty thin play at 5,600. We saw a crazy minute spike for him, 31 last time out, 24, 28, the two previous ones. Remember when he was playing 41, 40, 36 to start off that series, there was obviously no Luka Doncic. Now there is. I find it hard to believe he's a guy that I'm going to give more than 30 minutes to this entire series unless we see something just drastically change for him. We have him here for just under 27 at Awesemo. I think that that's about appropriate. Plus, yeah, he's near a fantasy point per minute guy, but he is going to be the secondary option no matter who's on the floor because he's always going to be on the floor with either Doncic or Brunson. Hard for me to land on him at 5,600. Once again, a casualty of me needing to go a little bit cheaper to afford the amount of Harden, the amount of Bam, and the amount of Luka that I want.
All right. All my lineups are updated. I'm good. I thought I wasn't going to be able to figure it out. We got it sorted. Some more super chats to get to. Next one is from Demetrius Johnson. Not a question, just a comment. The ultimate GPP play is Furkan Korkmaz.
No, it's not.
Thank me later.
No, it's not.
I also tend to think he isn't. But once again, Glenn Rivers. We've been wrong about Glenn Rivers' lineup more than once today. So, I mean, if he's playing DeAndre Jordan, who the hell knows who else will play? But I'm not playing Furkan Korkmaz. Good luck to you, Demetrius Johnson.
But here's the thing. You did bring up, like, you would just throw out shooters. Doesn't Korkmaz technically go in the shooter corner where you spread it out? You have Caleb Martin, Tyler Hero, those guys on the floor, and you can just counter with small ball the entire way. Harris at the 5. You go Niang at the 4. You go Korkmaz at the 3. If you're bringing Milton off the bench, where you're probably going to have Maxey and Harden on 1 and 2 at that point. Like, that lineup isn't the craziest thing I've ever heard.
No, but I'd rather I think they should just play Niang over him. So that's kind of what my preference would be there. I mean, as a 3-point shooter also, Korkmaz isn't a good shooter. He shot 29% from 3 this year. Thibel's a better shooter than Korkmaz.
But what career number? Korkmaz is a better shooter than what he put up this year. I mean, this was just abysmal.
Yeah. Him. 35% so marginally better. He's not a good shooter though.
Yeah,
he's not a good shooter.
He's a hot hand guy. He goes out there and that he's, for whatever reason, his role is still shooting. Like, that's a weird role to have when you're not good at it.
Well, there we go. We got Korkmaz, who's a 28% 3-point shooter, or he could play Thibault 31%. Either way, I would not, if I was Glenn Rivers, number one, I'd be starting Paul Reed, but I would not be playing Korkmaz either. Super chat from Jeff Williams, Maxi Kleber, Reed, or Tucker. Already playing Strus, Bam, and Hero. Also play Vincent ? High dollar single entry GPP. Help FU Glenn Rivers. Thank you for all of your support here, Jeff Williams. Of those guys, Maxi, Reed, or Tucker, I prefer Tucker the most.
Maxi, Reed.
Oh, wait, he said he could play
Tucker.
Gabe Vincent also. I prefer Gabe Vincent over all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, I like Gabe Vincent the most. Gabe Vincent's my boy. I made Gabe Vincent a thing. Thank you. That's my guy.
Gabe Vincent, Weatherman 7, jumping in late. There's no sticker. He's asking us an actual question. We still playing Reed in small field GPPs on DK, less than the field.
I have 4 minutes to decide. I have 2 things that I've built out, and one has 0% of him on DraftKings and the other is 40%. And I'm waiting to see, I keep refreshing our ownership and I keep trying to see exactly where it's going to come down. Cause I'd be so upset if I played like a 25% on Paul Reed today. Like, I would be very, very mad at myself. So I'm thinking I'm just going to play 0.
All right. I have no clue what to expect from his minutes. And
no idea.
We do have a super chat about that. Justin Alberto asked, any chance that Reed is a DNP and is Caleb Martin playable? I am not playing Caleb Martin. Yes, there is certainly a chance that Paul Reed is a DNP. It's not a high % chance, but it's within the realm of possibility. If he plays
non-zero chance.
Yeah, if he plays 0 minutes, that's within the cards. Super chat from Carl Anderson, FanDuel tournament, Luka and Vincent, or Maxey and Brunson, Luka and Vincent.
Luka and Vincent. I mean, let's go here now.
Super chat from Darren Unger on FanDuel, Niang, Harris, and Vincent, or Powell, Maxey, and Crowder.
I'm so strongly not playing Powell today. It's ridiculous. So I'm the wrong guy to ask. I definitely will take the first one.
Niang, Harris, and Vincent, or Powell, Maxey, and Crowder. I don't really have an issue with either of those, but I'll say Niang, Harris, and Vincent is more sensible. I don't feel great once again that we have to give minutes to DeAndre Jordan there, but I'll say the George Niang combination. All right, let's really quickly, Eric, just kind of go position by position, and just shout out some of our favorite plays at each spot. Would you prefer? We could each do one side. Would you prefer FanDuel or DK?
DK, because I'm finishing everything up over there.
Okay. So who is your most rostered point guard over on DK?
My most rostered point guard, James Harden, Luka Doncic 1-2, Gabe Vincent 3rd.
All right. Luka for me over on FanDuel, Tyrese Maxey number 2. Shooting guard for me, that'll be Tyler Hero and James Harden. Who are your most rostered shooting guards over on DK?
James Harden, Max Strus, Reggie Bullock.
All right. And now small forward, guys that we've already mentioned, Hero, Harden, then also throw in DFS and Tobias Harris. How about you at small forward?
Strus, Bullock, Crowder, and then DFS actually ended up in 30%. So I got a little bit more of him than what I had said before.
All right. I knocked over my microphone. I've got this.
That's good for you.
I've got the pop thing attached to it now, and it is kind of getting in the way more than I thought it was going to.
Hip Hop Anonymous.
Yeah,
Damn, he gets all the easy ones.
I don't like it. I'm going to throw this thing out the window after I'm done with the show. Power forward. It is Bam Adebayo for me, and then Tobias Harris is going to be the other one.
Let me pull up power forward here. Kleba, what's up? That's the strong stand for me today. Jay Crowder, Dorian Finney-Smith, then Jimmy Buckets and PJ Tucker, 25% each.
All right. And then at center, I already mentioned him at power forward, but still on FanDuel. It's so hard to get away from Bam Adebayo on both sides. DeAndre Ayton would be the second guy, though.
Yep. I am getting to, hold up. What is this happening to me? Okay, got it. Whew. Okay. Center, Kleba, Bam Adebayo, 75, 65% respectively, 54 on one DeAndre Ayton as well. So I got a lot more of him. I'm going to have to fix that in the next, I don't know, I have hour plus to figure out.
Okay. Okay.
Vincent, Harden, Strus. Those are the three guys I really want to have go nuts in this first game on DK. That's
all right, guys. We are at lock, but we're not going anywhere. If you guys are going anywhere, do us a favor, like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But for the next 30 minutes, Eric and I are going to be sweating, like actually sweating this time. This is going to be one of the ones where what happens at the start of the game is actually going to be important because a whole bunch of things could happen with DeAndre Jordan and the 76ers rotation. I think you guys are going to want to stick around, if nothing else, than to see our reaction when the Sixers go to the bench for the first time, and not just when they go to the bench, but who they go to the bench with. And yeah, don't do that again.
Hi, Gregory.
Yeah. All right. Don't do that. Don't do that. I've got a prize picks read to you. They're going to drop us as a sponsor if you ever do that again.
Sorry.
You do that again. They're going to tune there and be like, oh my God, what is he doing?
Save me. Paul Reed checked into the game 3 minutes in.
Yeah, I could already see it. I'm going to have an email in my inbox afterwards. Like, hey, we just want people to sign up using the promo code Awesemo, where they get up to $100 bonus on their first deposit. And Eric is scaring away everybody from watching the stream. So tell him not to do that, but do inform the people also that if they sign up at Prize Picks using the promo code, they also get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, where they get access to all of the tools like projections that update in real time when Glenn Rivers does stupid stuff like starting DeAndre Jordan at center. So stuff that you guys want to check out for sure. Let's go and, actually, you know what I want to see? I want to see what the ownership looks like now.
Ross Stripling, great start. Can this hold up for me? Can this hold up? Maybe not. We'll see. All right. I want you to guess. What is his ownership on
okay. FanDuel? I was about to pull it up.
I got it for you. What do you want? DeAndre, oh my God. I have such an outrageous stand on FanDuel. I'm now cheering for DeAndre Jordan.
Okay, so with that in mind, DeAndre Jordan, you gave it away. DeAndre Jordan is not popular. Paul Reed is. Is that correct?
I want you to guess. What is DeAndre Jordan's ownership?
All right, so I'm going to say DeAndre Jordan is like 15% owned on FanDuel.
A little bit more, 23.3, but that is still pretty low.
That's almost exactly what our ownership projection was.
I know that our ownership is ridiculous.
Okay, so then
Paul Reed, I want you to guess his ownership on FanDuel.
40%.
46. I did the right thing. I have 0% on it.
There we go. Yeah, that is.
Oh my God.
If Paul Reed comes off the bench and has a big game, cool. But I mean, he is. Do you think he at 46% owned? Is he more likely to score 30 plus fantasy points today or be a DNP coming off the bench?
Oh, I would say it's more likely that he is a DNP coming off the bench, but I also think it's almost impossible. How could you possibly be the backup center and then just be removed from the rotation when you move the starting center? Like that would be the most nonsensical, illogical Glenn Rivers move of all time.
So I'm going to go back to Glenn's comments before the postseason started, when he was asked by the media why he was not playing Paul Reed more down the stretch of the season and why he was going with DeAndre Jordan more. Per Glenn's comments, this is from the horse's mouth. He had said that whether he plays Jordan or Paul Reed is going to be matchup dependent. And he said that in games where they're playing against smaller teams, which I guess he considers the Raptors to be a smaller team. He said Paul Reed would be the backup center against bigger teams. DeAndre Jordan would be the backup center to Joel Embiid. So I think that he's just looking at this as a spot where, hey, I want to go bigger. The first man off the bench, it might be Paul Millsap. It might not be Paul Reed.
Yeah, it's in play. I thought about the Millsap thing. I saw his name come up a lot in chat from random people, but I mean, how could you possibly go about predicting him to play when he didn't play last series? And you're looking at Paul Reed not starting in this spot. It's just impossible for me to imagine that is something that I want people to put their hard-earned good money to use towards. Like, at least if you play a guy like Dedmon or you play a guy like McGee or something, if you get those minutes, there's a path for stuff. Like JaVale McGee at 3,300 and then on FanDuel, I mean, I'm almost more uncomfortable that I don't have him. I talked about it where 1v1, it would not surprise me to have JaVale McGee just flat out beat DeAndre Jordan. We don't know what those minutes look like for Jordan. We can assume we haven't projected for 21.4, and I feel as though he's going to play over 20 minutes in this spot. But McGee's the guy that I know between the two of them is going to play more than 16 minutes or more than 12 minutes is probably the right way of putting at it. And the fantasy point per minute rate just makes me think that maybe not having more McGee was a mistake.
Potentially. But then also with that said, do you remember the Suns center rotation last game?
Oh yeah. They did Biyombo. They went Biyombo weirdness. Like they did some weird shit.
So we're talking about dumb backup center situations. Biyombo could play the center minutes over McGee today. Like McGee could easily be DNP. This is why some of these slates are difficult when it's game one of the series, because we just don't know what the rotations are going to look like. Whatever happens in game one is going to inform us for game two. But for today, we're kind of going in the dark with a lot of these. I have no clue what the Sixers center rotation.
I said game one, you kind of hit the reset button. It's different matchups, different situation. Everybody should be very aware of what happened. D'Anthony Melton was under 1% owned yesterday. We talked about him a number of times, said that there was an opportunity for him to possibly play more than people were thinking. I had 5%, so it's not like I did something miraculous and I got murdered on that slate because John Morant murdered me. But I feel as though people don't take that into account. D'Anthony Melton made sense to see the floor a lot more for Memphis. If you made that stand, that's making a lot of money for the day. If you could have just pulled the trigger on 10% of him in your lineups, 15%. I find it hard to want to click on Millsap in that kind of a capacity, or in this situation, Bismack Biyombo or JaVale McGee. But as I said, I think on FanDuel is just play DeAndre Jordan a lot. He's under-owned relative to where he's at there. That game also just tipped off already, didn't it?
It tipped off very quick and although DeAndre Jordan did get a dunk. He is the 76ers first bucket, but we were less than 2 minutes into the game and the Heat are up 9-2.
And so it's just Bam Adebayo feasting season. 4 and 3 to start off the game in 2 minutes. High.
It is hard to explain how bad DeAndre Jordan is. Like he is terrible.
Bam.
The only reason
oop from Gabe Vincent. This is literally my favorite start to a basketball game ever.
Do you know why DeAndre Jordan is still in the NBA?
Because he's a great towel waver.
No, he's got a lot of friends. Like
That's what I'm saying. He's a good towel waver. He's good at waving the towel for his teammates.
Do you remember when the Nets signed Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? Like DeAndre Jordan was a package deal with them.
Yep. Hilarity. It helps. You know what? This is just one of those life lessons, Greg. It's better to have friends who can vouch for you, that want you to be a part of good things, than it is to be on the other side of that and be hated.
I just remembered something. Do you remember why Kenny Atkinson got fired?
Why?
Because he started Jared Allen over DeAndre Jordan. You do remember that?
I do kind of. And then LeBron James went nuts on that one.
Well, I don't remember LeBron's involvement in it, but so there was a locker room issue because when the Nets signed Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, like I said before, it was a package deal with DeAndre Jordan. And then is what happened.
Oh, you're right. That wasn't a LeBron thing. I don't think.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
So different situation.
Yeah. So he was a package deal. I swear, I'm just going to take this thing off. It is so annoying. So anyway, it's just in the way, and I can't like see over it. Like it didn't seem like an issue for me this morning, and it is driving me absolutely crazy now. All right.
Charge DeAndre Jordan. Cool. Good work.
All right. Is he out of the game yet?
This is just going to be murder, by the way. Bam, 6-3. Jimmy Butler, 2-2. Max Strus for 3. That's beautiful stuff. Oh my God. Just talk dirty to me.
All right. There we go. I took it off. There we go. I don't know if that's what you meant by talk dirty to me, but I took
a song.
I took my pop filter off. It is gone. It has been thrown. It has been thrown away at this point. I kept bumping into it. I can't move my arms or anything. The other thing that makes it issue is it has this arm that kind of sticks out on the side. So when I'm trying to type on my computer and update my lineups, I kept banging into it, and that was why I knocked the mic over before. All right, we're done with it. It was a good experiment, but we're gonna have to rethink that one. So the DeAndre Jordan thing. Kenny Atkinson wanted to start Jared Allen over DeAndre Jordan, and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant said, no. We are starting DeAndre Jordan. We are not starting Jared Allen. He refused. As a result, he got fired, and the Nets ended up bringing in Steve Nash. That was the final straw with Kenny Atkinson.
Yep. And everybody freaks out. Oh my God, Cleveland has so many bigs. Why are they giving Jared Allen a contract? They had a really good basketball team. If it wasn't for, 48,000 injuries this season. Ricky Rubio gone right off the bat. Colin Sexton gone right off the bat. I mean, there was a basketball team to be had in Cleveland this year. It's kind of sad that nothing could really come to fruition there.
I am really happy with my Heat first quarter bet right now.
Yeah, it looks
DeAndre Jordan,
saucy.
Absolute train wreck.
He can't do anything. They are attacking him on every single offensive possession. This has it hasn't even been a fair fight.
So the Heat called the timeout. The 76ers called the timeout. The Heat would do no such thing. They want no chance of a stoppage in play where DeAndre Jordan could come off the court.
Nope.
Does DeAndre Jordan come off at this timeout, and who comes in if he does?
I mean, if it's Paul Millsap, just drop kick me in the face and call me Shirley. Like, I just don't even want to live. What?
Does it have to be Shirley? Can I call you a different lady name?
You can call me whatever you want, Greg. Call me by my name.
Erica. So I mean, we're just changing everybody's names. We'll see what Glenn chooses to do at this.
Glenn's got decisions to make here.
Yeah.
Also, what's Jordan Klein up to? Can we not get the gun show on producer cam? What's going on?
But by the way, you said drop kick me in the face if he goes to Millsap. This is a way worse situation for us if he goes to Paul Reed, because then Paul Reed's just going to play like 25 minutes and crush.
Oh yeah. We're in a lot of trouble because 0 and 0 equals 0. And I didn't really know what to do, but I mean, can we be surprised? As you said, first quarter Heat, 18-6, absolute murder. I mean, this was never in doubt. Doc is so bad at coaching. Can Doc get fired? Like, can he just not even come? Can they fire him in Miami and just take over and be like, no. Whatever this ego thing is, you and DeAndre Jordan being a homeboys back in the Clippers days doesn't matter in the year of our Lord 2022, and we need Paul Reed on the floor. Apparently they can't do that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what ends up.
It's going to be Millsap, isn't it?
What's actually kind of interesting here, and I want to take a second to see what happens when we come out of break, but the over on Prize Picks, they're the second half lines.
That's what I was going to say. Smash DeAndre Jordan unders if they're available.
It's very low though. What if I told you the over under for his points is 2.5 in the second half?
There's got to be a fantasy score though. He has 8 for a fantasy score. Give me the under right now.
Well, let's see if he comes out here though. If he stays in, then we have to assume he's going to play fairly significant minutes now.
I would agree. And Oladipo, like it's a 10. I mean, if it's going to be a blowout, I really don't want to be on any side of Oladipo because there's a definite chance he could smash in garbage time. But if he comes out right here, just have it locked and loaded. 8 fantasy score makes me feel better than 2.5 points. Actually, you know what? That's not true. I think the 2.5 points, he would need a dunk and a free throw. We all know his free throw prowess. So, it's one of those things. Shorting DJ. That's my DJ.
Hate when you sing.
I'm just saying, I'm doing all the that was every basket. So if you went to Clipper games mid 2000s, Jordan Klein, you know this life, don't you? Every time DeAndre Jordan would score, and he scored a lot back in those days with the Chris Paul alley-oops, just freebies, Lob City. But it would always go DJ. It's my DJ.
Paul Reed is in, as Chad is informing us, by the way. Paul Reed center. So Paul Reed's just going to play like the entire game now, right? Eric, Jordan, you live close to Eric. Can you go over there and defibrillate him? He might be deceased. Yeah, he's done. Look at, he's flatlining. Is that a Master shirt?
Sure is. Yeah.
I didn't realize. I should have known that because you've got the you've got the logo there. All right, let's see what happens here.
We're so screwed, Greg.
Yeah,
we are gonna lose a lot of. We're gonna lose on this slate, by the way. In case you wanted to know,
Paul Reed.
This is the exact thing we were talking about, though, where I was just like, oh, assist right off the bat. Danny Green out there creating right off the bat. Come on.
Let's see what ends up being the so if you had to go back in time and redo your lineups, how much Paul Reed are you playing?
If you could read my mind, you would know it'd be 100%.
So I'm going to be honest about this. I actually wouldn't change anything.
Okay, here's what I started the show saying to you, where it's one of those things where I was like, maybe you just get a lower owned Paul Reed than what it should be. I will say on FanDuel, there is no doubt that having 0 was the right play when I see 40+% and him not starting. But I think on DK, maybe it was a mistake knowing that we were going to get a lot lower ownership in that direction. And people, I mean, it's just one of those things. You got to just know that the projections were still going to have a lot of people who build lineups earlier, and things were just going to happen where you were just going to run into him being a little bit lower owned. What did the exact number end up being for him, by the way?
I think I saw we looked at it before. It was like 50% on the projection or the actual.
No. His ownership. So DeAndre Jordan is 11.9% owned on DK and the $4. That is the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. That is wrong, sir. You are wrong. Paul Reed, 41.1%. So we are on the 0. I'm okay with you. I don't think I would have changed anything. You're actually right. You're making me feel better about losing money on this slate.
Does it make you feel any better that James Harden is shitting the bed so hard that it might not have mattered anyway? Like if James Harden's going to score 30 fantasy points, we're going to get our ass kicked anyway.
Paul Reed assisted from James Harden. This is just murder. We are so dead, Greg. We are so dead.
Once again, though, if James Harden's going to suck this entire slate, we're kind of sitting dead anyway. Well, at least the good news is I've only got 5 more minutes left to sweat out Heat -2.5 in the first quarter. Am I going to lose this too? How is this going to go south?
Oh God. Yeah. Paul Reed is going to be the reason that happens. He'll have
that would be really funny.
8 and 4 in 7.5 minutes of the first quarter to bring it back.
Adebayo.
Hey, Reed foul. There we go. That's what we need.
Okay, so what happens? Here's another funny scenario, and then we'll look back at Prize Picks in a sec. There's only one NBA game.
Two fouls right away.
So I forgot the other thing about Glenn Rivers' comments before the postseason started. Do you remember the other reason he said that he wasn't playing Paul Reed more minutes?
Because he can't keep his hands to himself.
He said that he said that it would be really problematic if he was to get in foul. Now I don't know why it would matter if he gets in foul trouble.
Yeah, you're off the bench.
Somebody who comes off the bench and plays 12 minutes, who cares if he's in foul trouble? But that aside,
I would be shocked if Paul Reed had more than 3 fouls in any game. Let me pull it up. In the Toronto series.
Is Paul Reed going to come out now? And who is it
Paul
going to be?
Paul Reed never. He had 4 fouls in the first game of the Toronto series. He didn't have over 3 the rest of the way. So that comment is stupid. It's pure stupidity.
So what do they do now? Because now, if we're going to assume that Reed is if Reed is going to end up coming off the court, who's going to end up playing if it's not
Paul Millsap season?
Is it Paul? All right, here we go. Is it
Paul Reed turnover? Jimmy Butler steals. Let's go. Jimmy Butler for 3, 25-11. Just night. What's going on?
All right, come on. Just win the first quarter by 2.5. I'm happy I'm going to make money on this DeAndre Jordan
Doc
situation.
Rivers said, I can't start him. I can't play him more minutes because of foul trouble. Paul Reed just got another assist. Just seriously. Do you want to see me tilt? Yeah, see me tilt.
Yeah, I do actually. So there's. Well, I don't want you to give yourself a heart attack or anything. I don't need a new. That would be such a hassle to find a new co-host. So don't go too crazy.
Okay, sorry.
Don't go too crazy.
Sorry.
All right.
Danny Green leading the Sixers in scoring on FanDuel.com, just like we all thought.
Of course.
Danny
So now,
Green.
Does DeAndre Jordan check back in the rest of the game?
Well, I think we should just find out. I doubt the second half line on Prize Picks changes. I think you just wait and see if he even checks back in this game the rest of the half. If he doesn't, just smash that under on fantasy points or points. Like either of them makes sense. Like you could just not play Paul Reed rebound. 2-2
So now,
1.
how does because living in New Jersey, I'm not allowed to play on Prize Picks. You are living in California. If DeAndre Jordan plays 0 minutes in the second half and you take the unders because he played in the first half, would those still pay out?
I think he shows up. No, he has to show up on the floor. I bet he would start the second half. I bet no matter what, he starts the second half for another 4 minutes and just gets completely blasted.
Maybe it could be, but remember, remember Andre Drummond's very similar to DeAndre Jordan. Remember when Andre Drummond started in the playoffs for the Nets and he played poorly in the final game, played 3 minutes in the first half, came out, didn't check in the rest of the game. I wouldn't be totally shocked if that's the same situation.
Jack Koff, I can't imagine Eric's nightly group text tilts. Oh, just ask Greg. Ask Greg. He knows.
Unfortunately, Eric is more reasonable than you guys would like him to think he is. Every once in a while, though, every once in a while there are some tilting ones. Actually, it's usually related to Prize Picks when something misses by 1 or 2 fantasy points.
Oh, I've been just getting hooked like a MFer. It's just been hurtful. It doesn't feel nice. But here's the thing: is that in the long run, that's going to happen. Plus, if you play 5-player props, you can go 3 for 5 and get half your money back, or just close to half your money back. You can go 4 for 5 and 2x it, and you can 10x it if you go 5 of 5. So there's still paths to not being perfect and still have it pan out. But yeah, when Robbie Ray goes over 6.5 and ruins all your 5 of 5s, it's not a good feeling yesterday.
How about this? Because I'm looking through some of the fantasy scores. Bam Adebayo second half over 19, assuming that this game is relatively close. If the game starts to turn into a blowout, it's problematic. But over 19 for Bam Adebayo fantasy points, a smash, no?
Over on
in the second half.
Over on 5 or on 10.
Over 19 fantasy points.
Oh, it's 10 right now. Yeah, it would have been, on Prize Picks earlier if you had done that, but that's just the full game line. It's 10 for a fantasy score in the second half for the second half lines.
Is it? I'm confused here. Is this like who's on first? It's 19.
Who? Bam?
This is. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
The Prize Pick second half props over 19 fantasy points.
Yeah, it's 19.5 now for Bam. I'm confused. If you refresh
it's showing up as 19 for me.
Yeah, so if you refresh it, because I think it got updated, they've been moving it here slightly. I think they're watching him eviscerate this front court like we all knew was going to happen. Bam Adebayo, Dwayne Dedmon got pulled off the floor. Then Bam just checked right back in. This is weird. What a time to be alive. Oladipo, he is on the floor. Turnover immediately. Not great at all. James Harden, welcome to the game. Knocks down a 3. So now he's got 5, 2, and 2. I think this is a great start for James Harden. It's balanced. It's spread out. I'm just saying that it's one of those things where if you played him a lot on DK, you're really hoping for that double-double, triple-double type bonus as well to just put him way over the top. And you're just hoping for a lot of fantasy points all around.
Well, you're also hoping for not a blowout because that is also
Paul Reed steal.
By the way, Dedmon picks up. This is all impossible. Dedmon has 3 personal fouls in 30 seconds. How is that possible?
Paul Reed assists to Matisse Thybulle.
How did Dwayne Dedmon get 3 fouls in 30 seconds? How do you do that? Who do you think he is? Jaren Jackson Jr.?
Who do you think you are? I am.
Pete Weber. That guy's Pete Weber, right? I'm pretty sure that he's the only bowler right now.
This is my least favorite post lock we've ever done because it's just me watching Paul Reed go
Are you
nuts.
kidding me? This is miles better than the Paul George one. We did with the last. You had Eric. Do you know how far? Do you know how many shows back we have to go to you playing Naz Reid in 78% of your lineups and then him not playing? The last show we did together.
I know, but this is equally unfun.
It's definitely not fun. It's not the best. We don't like Glenn Rivers. You know who else doesn't like Glenn Rivers? Abel Ramos just left us a super chat. Just say, I hate you, Glenn Rivers. We're not a fan of him either. You know what we are a fan of, Eric? Free bets. Prize Picks too. We are a fan of Prize Picks. We also like free bets, and we have free premium bets posted on our Twitter handle at Awesemo Best Bets. You could find them right now. So go follow at Awesemo Best Bets on Twitter, and you could see the free bet that we have posted. Go follow that account, turn on notifications, get one free bet per day. It comes for a premium sports betting package. If you guys do want access to our sports betting package, you would sign up for that using the link in the description box below. You head on over. We got guys like Steve Buzzard, Ben Rossa, Alex Baker, giving out bets behind the paywall every single day. We've been tracking the results. It's been positive, so it is something that ends up paying for itself. I don't like now how this has now become a 5-point game on the back of Paul Reed. Going to get screwed on all angles here. I just need the Heat to win by 2.5 in this quarter. Goddamn B-ball
9.7 on FanDuel.
I can't believe you thought starting DeAndre Jordan was a good idea.
Paul Reed looks like he's staring directly into the sun in his profile picture on FanDuel.
He might have been. What
like a very bright camera.
Let's see. What is the free bet that we have today? Awesemo at Awesemo Best Bets. Free bet. It is posted. Guys, go follow and check it out. Dallas Mavericks plus 6.5 over on BetMGM. So Dallas Mavericks plus 6.5. What do you expect to happen in the Dallas Phoenix series?
I expect Dallas. I think Dallas, I said, I have this weird feel. I think Dallas is the better. I think they're not the better team. I don't even really know. I don't believe Phoenix. I have not believed Phoenix this post. Something feels up to me. And I understand that it's a contrarian take. I understand that it might seem hot takey, but I think Dallas wins this series. I think there's value betting Dallas. Luka Doncic looked really good at the end of the last series. You know, hamstring and everything be damned. He looked really good. We'll see what Devin Booker looks like in this game one here, but for some reason, I just haven't been completely on board with the Suns being this good again. The second time around, they kind of caught lightning in a bottle last season, carried it over into this entire season, but Dallas just said, you know what, screw it. We're going to play our guys 40 minutes a game, and maybe the bench for the Suns can go out and win them some games. But Spencer Dinwiddie has fit in surprisingly well. They've gotten the most that they could out of him based on his terrible start in Washington. I think Dallas wins this series, and I'm not saying that would I be surprised if the Suns didn't? No, they're the favorites, but I really kind of like Dallas to really perform well here. Luka getting the figurative monkey off his back, pretty much going to be playing with house money going forward here. I like this Dallas team.
Phoenix sweeps.
I knew you were going to come in with something like that. As if you couldn't just, today is not good. Is Phoenix real? Phoenix is real. It's a real place. I've been there like 3 weeks ago, but
realistically, let's see. If I just pull up a sports book, what do you think is the most likely betting outcome for the series? Like, just which do you think is the shortest odds? I don't know.
It's got to be Suns in 5. Suns in 5 or Suns in 7.
All right. Series line.
Because, I mean, the home team, it's always shorter odds for the home team to close out on their floor. So you have Dallas in 6 would be the shortest odds you're going to find for them.
Yeah, I'm looking. Also, I do have some bets that I want to. Oh, here we go. All right, I found it. Series total games. No, that's not it. Correct score. Here we go. The most likely outcome, according to Sportsbooks, Suns in 5.
Yeah, I said Suns in 5. That was my guess, but I mean,
second most likely outcome is Suns in 7.
Look at that. I went 1-2 right off the bat. It's almost like I know things.
What do you think is third?
Yeah, Dallas in 6.
No, Suns in 6.
Oh, Suns in 6. All right, interesting. Because again, it's always, I'm saying for Dallas, if you bet the Dallas side, the shortest odds you're going to find for them would be them winning in 6 because you close out into your home floor.
Right. Yeah, it's plus 650 for them to win in 6. Those are not good odds.
What is it for them to win in 7?
Shoot, I just closed. All right, there we go. Heat up 5 now. Just win this. Just win the first quarter by 3 or more points.
This is good. This is the sweat. Like you have the sweat of the quarter. I just want you to be good in this regard. I mean, this would just be so disgusting to watch if he somehow gets through it. By the way, bam, 10-6-1. My God. And
he's going to have to play a ton now because God forbid Dwayne Dedmon fouls out. What would you ever do in that kind of scenario? By the way, so for the Mavericks in 7, that's terrible odds. Also 8-1.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Garbage odds.
Well, I mean, ready for DeAndre Jordan checks in for Paul Reed. Thank you, Jesus. 45 seconds left in the quarter.
That is an absurd decision by sorry, I made a mistake, Glenn.
No, he's doing it because Reed has 2 fouls. So this might be the first good decision he's made.
No, just play just play Paul Mills, play anybody but DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, in his mind, he has to take Paul Reed out for his 2 fouls now, even though he didn't take him off the entire rest of the quarter. Like, what in the world?
All right, let me see if
I want a heat bucket very badly for you on this possession. Can we get somebody to foul him or something? Come on. Do it for my friend Gregory over there. I'm living vicariously through your actual happiness. Matisse Thybulle shooting foul. There we are.
All right. Yahtzee. So we should be good now. Should be good. Just need to make one of the free throws and we're clear.
Yep. And it's Tyler Hero, so that's good news.
Yeah. All right. He made the first. So is this still up? I'm trying to find this bet because we're at the end. Okay, here it is. For the highest score in the Suns Grizzlies series, Ja Morant is plus 130. I love that. So also part of the reason is the odds are really screwed up so this is over on FanDuel. They have it posted Ja Morant plus 130, Steph Curry plus 190, and Jordan Poole plus 190. Jordan Poole way overrated. There's the odds of Jordan Poole being the highest score in that series very slim to me. First game of the series, Ja Morant took 31 shots. He's going to shoot a ton in the series. He already has a lead on Curry, and I wouldn't be surprised if the series is a blowout either. The Warriors have already won 1 game in Memphis. Desmond Bane is questionable to play tomorrow. That's also something that could potentially, number one, could also boost the usage of Ja Morant going forward. But then number 2 also makes the series more likely to be a blowout. I like Ja Morant. Final bet I'll give out here, plus 130 to be the highest score in the Memphis Warriors series. Do you like that?
Yes, I love that.
All right. That is going to do it for us, guys. That is the end of the show. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I don't even know what else we're rooting for tonight. We're looking forward to tomorrow, so let's go baseball.
Let's go late swap.